What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5 SP Chapter 101 A random task triggered suddenly. Shihouin Mansion. What, Sister Yoruichi, it's rare to have a holiday, can't you let me take a good rest? Ling Yun's complaining voice resounded throughout the room. Ling Yun, who was taking a nap, was suddenly woken up by Yoruichi and told to go to the 13th Division to compete with Shiba Kaien. Hearing this news suddenly, Ling Yun's anger immediately exploded. Nima. Who hasn't lost their temper? I finally had a sweet dream, the bed is not warm yet, now I have to get up to compete with other people? Mihi. Of course, apart from complaining, Ling Yun could only accept it helplessly. Although he was a little reluctant in his heart, he was somewhat looking forward to this contest. Shiba Kaien. In the plot of the original novel, this talented character who resembles Yihu died young many years ago because of drama killing. Therefore, Ling Yun was not too impressed with his understanding, at most he only knew Zanpakutō's ability. But this is enough, Zanpakutō Nejibana's moves, he has already known it well enough to deal with this competition. More importantly 820 is. This is the first time Ling Yun faces the Zanpakutō of the flowing water system after Yanmo's awakening. If in this contest, gain enough combat experience, then Yanmo's water attribute ability must have been improved immeasurably. These are the benefits that Ling Yun can imagine. Ling Yun, are you confident? Kaien is no little Sui Feng. If you take it lightly, you will definitely suffer. Yoruichi threatened deliberately. Sister Yoruichi, do you have no confidence in your little brother? Ling Yun didn't respond, and stood in front of the mirror, busy arranging his clothes. After all, he is a hot topic figure, and is sought after by the majority of female Shinigami, so Ling Yun naturally has to maintain a good image. Your complexion is pretty good today, and you look radiant. After tidying up her clothes, Ling Yun admired herself. Ling Yun, if it weren't for the blood relationship, I couldn't help but be moved by my sister. Yoruichi couldn't help swallowing. With a handsome face and elegant gentleman's demeanor, although the dead bully outfit is ordinary, it shows Ling Yun's handsomeness. It seems that every strand of hair exudes the smell of flower hearts. Oh my god. The damn charm. BBFB, I'm not going to harvest a wave later, fans of Team Tien Sanfan. Sister, if you were braver, there may be other stories. Ling Yun turned around and made a joke. You brat, how dare you tease my sister, Yoruichi chuckled, came to Ling Yun, and flicked a chestnut lightly. Ouch, Sister Yoruichi, your hands are still so strong. Ling Yun touched his forehead and cried out that it hurts. In the end, with laughter and laughter, the two left Shihouin's mansion and went to the 13th Division team meeting. The screen shifts. The 13th Division team building. The promised suburb. It's the first time to meet you, I'm Shiba Kaien, please give me your advice. Shiba Kaien deserves to be an old man. He greeted him as soon as he came up, showing the demeanor that his predecessors should have. Vice Captain Kaien. I'm Ling Yun, the third seed of the fourth team. Ling Yun smiled and observed the other party secretly. Shiba Kaien's real person is more handsome than expected, of course, he is still a little worse than Ling Yun. But on the whole, Shiba Kaien has done a good job in terms of conversation and behavior, and can't find any faults at all. Captain Yoruichi, the third seed of Ling Yun, this place has been arranged in advance, a solid 5-fold boundary barrier. Jashiro Yukitaki said kindly. Jashiro Yukitaki. Ling Yun quickly turned his attention to the sick man. This man who is frail and sick, but has a good relationship and is loved by the soldiers. Like his good friend Kiraku Shunsui, he was the first student of Mao Ling Academy and one of the few captains with more than 200 years of experience in the entire Gode 13. If that's the case, it's actually not too outstanding. The biggest secret of Jashiro Yukitaki, besides Zanpakutō and double swords and double fish and carp, is actually the right arm left behind by the King of Spirits, the one-eyed god Tears stand-in. When he was young, due to a special disease, his hair color turned completely white, and he was eventually sent to the Ancestral Hall for treatment. In the end, at the cost of dedicating his lungs, he obtained the ability to temporarily become a substitute for the Soul King from the one-eyed god Tear. In this unknown past, not many people in Gode 13 know the truth. Even Aizen, who has secretly investigated for many years, only learned of this anecdote through the information in the corridor of the Great Spirit Book. If the disease on his body can be cured, Jashiro Yukitaki should be very strong, right? Ling Yun thought silently. Although health is taken away by a one-eyed god Tear, normal Kaido are difficult to heal. But Ling Yun has full-level divine healing. Although I can't guarantee it 100%, there may be hope for Jashiro Yukitaki's recovery with the heaven-defying of divine healing. Of course, this was just Ling Yun's whim, and he had no real plans to act. The most important thing right now is the contest with Shiba Kaien. Ling Yun 3 seats, you should be ready, Shiba Hai asked with a light smile. His mentality is relatively relaxed, for this contest of geniuses, he is more of a playful mentality. Vice Captain Kaien, please, Ling Yun made a gesture of invitation, and then walked into the barrier. Shiba Kaien followed closely behind. The two hit it off in no time. Captain Yoruichi, come sit here and watch while drinking tea. Jashiro Yukitake came to the shade of a tree where there was a makeshift stone platform with an elaborate tea set on it. Obviously, for this contest, Jashiro Yukitake has ulterior motives and has long been prepared to watch. Captain Jashiro, who do you prefer? Yoruichi asked suddenly. Well, it's really hard to answer. Jashiro Yukitake was a little embarrassed. In fact, he subconsciously believed that Shiba Kaien must win, but polite words have to be said. I think, if Kaien is a little careless, he might lose. Yoruichi took a rare serious look, and looked at the boundary barrier seriously. That failure by Sui Feng, Yoruichi was impressed. Although the process is very short, but with Yoruichi's eyesight, he can judge the general situation. Apparently that time, it wasn't the limit, Ling Yun was hiding a stronger strength. That's why Yoruichi pays extra attention. At the same time, Ling Yun's expression changed slightly in the barrier. That is because the system prompt sounded suddenly. Ding! A warm reminder, a triggering task will appear, do you want to choose it immediately? The system, as always, does not play cards according to routines. Suddenly a random quest is triggered. Chapter 102 Let the Water in the Sky Reverse, Nejibana. A warm reminder, a triggering task will appear, do you want to choose it immediately? The sudden trigger of the random task caused Ling Yun's expression to change slightly. No, a random mission was triggered at this time? Ling Yun was very surprised. It has been a while since the last mission, and Ling Yun almost forgot about it. However, he has always welcomed the system's random tasks. The rewards for each mission are exceptionally good, and it stands to reason that this time it should not be too bad. So, without further ado, Ling Yun opened the task information bar. Random task. Rectification of the name of a genius. Task content. Defeat Shiba Kaien in front of everyone within the specified time limit, and the specified time limit is 3 hours. Task reward. Ice attributes. After carefully reading the mission content, Ling Yun couldn't help but smile. After the last contact with the Masked Legion and the accidental awakening of the space-time attribute, Ling Yun finally ushered in a brand new attribute. Ice attribute. The rewards for random missions are still as good as ever, Ling Yun secretly praised. Wind, fire, thunder, earth, water, time and space. Before this random mission was triggered, these 6 completely different Ryotsu were fused in Ling Yun's body. This also means that his Zanpakutō Yama can exert different powers. In fact, this alone is already perfect enough, but Ling Yun still feels that it is not enough. Ice Zanpakutō in the entire Gode 13 is a relatively common category. The power of ice does not need to be introduced too much. The power of large-scale freezing and ultra-low temperature killing cannot be underestimated. Ling Yun has always felt sorry for the lack of such an attribute. The triggering of random tasks now perfectly makes up for this shortcoming. No matter what, we must defeat Shiba Kaien. Ling Yun was full of fighting spirit. He is bound to get the task reward. Hey, Ling Yun seems to have changed. Yoruichi noticed at first. The fighting spirit emanating from Ling Yun's body was like a round of fiery sun, radiating 10,000 feet of light. Not only Yoruichi, Jashiro Yukitake, the medicine jar, and Shiba Kaien on the field also felt Ling Yun's fighting spirit. The originally dull atmosphere, like a fuse being lit, instantly became anxious. It's interesting to have such a strong fighting spirit. Sensing Ling Yun's aura, Shiba Kaien smiled. Swallowing like a tiger, the younger generation is formidable. I thought this was just a symbolic friendly contest, but now it seems that the real thing must be done. Third seed Ling Yun, it shouldn't be wrong to call you that, right? Shiba Kaien gradually restrained his expression. Deputy Captain Kaien, let's avoid the unnecessary temptation, or release Zanpakutō directly. Ling Yun touched the girdle and took out Zanpakutō Yanmo. He couldn't wait to experience the power of Zanpakutō Nejibana. Isn't it the first time you fought against a captain-level Shinigami? Shiba Kaien frowned. He has always been good at observing words and emotions, and through Ling Yun's on-the-spot performance, Shiba Kaien immediately came to such a conclusion. Under normal circumstances, newcomers to the team tend to be a little reluctant to let go. Especially in the face of the captain-level Shinigami, this restraint is even stronger. And like Ling Yun, not only responding fluently, but even taking the initiative to provoke, is simply unrealistic performance. Just yesterday, Vice Captain Sui Feng suffered a loss. Ling Yun held Zanpakutō with his backhand, and released words of liberation from his mouth. Used by the evil god, Wei Wu has exhausted his body. Yan Mo Dark Scythe. Ling Yun's words were resounding. The Zanpakutō in his hand, with the sound, emitted a dark light. Then, facing Shiba Kaien's gaze, the death scythe took shape. Yan Mo. According to my understanding, it should be a Thunder Zanpakutō, right? Although he was shocked by Yan Mo's appearance, Shiba Kaien quickly adjusted his mentality. Yan Mo is amazing, but his Nejibana is also not to be outdone. Let's turn the tide, Nejibana. Without any delay, Shiba Kaien made a decisive decision and unleashed the power of Nejibana. As the blue and white light bloomed, the Zanpakutō in his hand gradually transformed into another shape. It was a trident-shaped long spear that looked like Poseidon. The whole body was white. The end of the trident is in the shape of a spiral cone, and there is a water blue tassel at the tip of the spear. Swipe swipe. Holding Nejibana with one hand, Shiba Kaien seems to be transformed into Poseidon, creating waves of garden water around his body. The water and the sky are reversed, and the waves are ups and downs. Every time Nejibana lifts the air, it sets off a stream of water, constantly absorbing the moisture in the air. Created an amazing scene. Ask for flowers. Shikai alone has such power and influence. If Bankai is developed, it will definitely become a famous tool. Ling Yun sincerely sighed. Sadly, Shiba Kaien's Nejibana doesn't seem to be using the Bankai until his deathbed. But these are not important. Importantly, Nejibana's Shikai gave him an insight into the movement of the water attribute Ryotsu. For Ling Yun, this is undoubtedly an excellent copy opportunity. You are beautiful, in the next second, I will show off like you. Ling Yun, although the thunder attribute Zanpakutō, some restrain the flowing water type Zanpakutō, but my Nejibana does not accept this set. Shiba Kaien used the single wrist as the axis, and used the way of turning to provoke the tip of the spear. This kind of dance-like spear technique provoked layer after layer of waves, which spread layer by layer towards the surroundings. In less than a moment, the entire boundary-breaking enchantment was almost flooded with water. Vice Captain Kaien, your Zanpakutō Nejibana is really eye-catching. Ling Yun held the death scythe with one hand, facing tit for tat in an imposing manner. But, he paused for a moment, with the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. What you can do, I can do too. What's the meaning? Shiba Kaien frowned. He could clearly hear that Ling Yun was not joking. Could it be he wants to imitate his fighting style? Shiba Kaien can only think in this way. Ling Yun uses Yanmo's characteristics to transform Ryotsu with different attributes, and imitates the opponent's spear skills and moves. However, whether the Jifang language is the same or not is actually not critical. The atmosphere suddenly fell into a deathly silence. The key point is that Ling Yun has let out a completely consistent calendar area. The power he was so proud of was actually stolen by the other party? What happened next left him stunned, exactly the same liberation language. How is this possible? At the same time, he recited in his mouth, let the water in the sky turn back, Yanmo. Shiba Kaien couldn't understand at all why the Thunderbolt Zanpakutō's Yanmo could release the power of flowing water and waves. Wrong. Swipe swipe. After seeing this scene, Shiba Kaien was taken aback. That's right. Ling Yun also swung the death scythe in midair. Of course. To be precise, it should be a perfect replica. Chapter 103 Ice Attribute Awakens. How on earth did he do it? Shiba Kaien couldn't figure it out at all. Why is Yanmo, the Thunder Zanpakutō, able to release the power of flowing water and waves? This strange phenomenon subverted his cognition. As the head of the Shiba family, even though the family has declined, there are still many ancient books hidden in them, which record a lot of secrets. As a result of reading ancient books since childhood, although he was born in Rukongai, Shiba Kaien's knowledge is far wider than that of ordinary Shinigami. But the scene in front of me, it still brings a strong and shocking visual effect. Also frightened were Yoruichi and Jashiro Yukitaki outside the barrier. Yoruichi was okay. He knew the secrets he knew so well, and he quickly calmed down. The potion jar, Jashiro, is not so calm. He kept coughing, his face lacked blood, and he was as pale as moonlight. 273. As if he would die at any moment. Watching Yoruichi broke into a cold sweat. Jashiro Yukitaki, who has always been a Buddhist, gradually became a little agitated. Captain Yoruichi, what is going on? I'm not so sure either. Yoruichi spread his hands, expressing his innocence. It was also the first time for her to witness Yanmo release her own power. As for the saying of Thunder Department Zanpakutō, the reason why it will be widely circulated in Jingling. In fact, it was because of the personal assessment by the chief captain before Ling Yun joined the team. Since then, there have been the above-mentioned sayings about Yanmo's ability category. It turns out that you don't know about it. It seems that Ling Yun is hiding it very deeply, and even deceived everyone. Although Jashiro Yukitaki was suspicious, he quickly dismissed the idea. In fact, Zanpakutō's category ability is not a special secret. Even if you want to lie, you can't hide it at all. What Yao Guanzi was more concerned about was that Ling Yun used Yanmo to perform the same moves. It's unbelievable. Captain Jashiro, continue to wait and see. Maybe the answer to the mystery will be revealed later. Yoruichi is back to normal again. She leisurely raised her legs, picked up the cup from the tea table, and took a sip of hot tea comfortably. Things have come to this point. The excitement of this contest has far exceeded the original estimate. Yoruichi thinks blood is worth it. Don't waste your time digging a hole. The screen returns to the boundary barrier. Because of Yanmo's engraving ability, the atmosphere became extremely strange. Ling Yun and Shiba Kaien. One is holding the sickle of death, the other is carrying the trident. Each of them is riding the stormy waves, confronting each other in the boundary-breaking barrier. Ling Yun, although I don't know, how did you do it? Holding the trident in his hand, Shiba Kaien's eyes became a little fierce. No matter how good his temper is, he is usually loved by the soldiers. It can be seen that Zanpakutō's ability has been copied, and Shiba Kaien is furious. Don't you think this kind of question is meaningless? Ling Yun did not answer directly. The more confrontation, the deeper the feeling. Ling Yun feels Zanpakutō Nejibana's ability through close quarters. For the water attribute Ryotsu, in such a short period of time, I have a more skillful grasp. Clatter. Shiba Kaien looked sullen. The trident rotated back and forth, embellished with blue Sakura's spear tip, and jumped into countless streams of swift water. The waves and currents formed a tsunami, rolling towards Ling Yun mightily. The situation took a turn for the worse in an instant. Are you angry? Feeling the strangling power in the water, Ling Yun raised Yanmo calmly. Scimitar slash. In an instant, a layer of blood-red color was attached to the blade of the death scythe. Gulu gulu. There was a sound of boiling, and a pungent bloody smell quietly permeated the air. A terrifying scene happened. This is. Shiba Kaien's eyes widened desperately. His dark smoky blue pupils reflected the scene in front of him. With the burst of evil spirit, the waterwaves around Ling Yun instantly turned blood red. The blood surged, and the evil spirit surged. Behind Ling Yun, a phantom condensed. That's right, that's what I learned 2 days ago, Ashura Phantom. Obviously it's the Zanpakutō of the flowing water system, but what's the matter with this evil spirit? Because Shiba Kaien didn't know it beforehand, because of the appearance of evil spirit, Shiba Kaien's mood became constantly fluctuating. Then he saw an unbelievable scene. The offensive launch by Nejibana, the moment it touched the bloody water, seemed to be scorched by high temperature. White threads emerged and disappeared quickly. The whole process only lasted a few seconds. When Shiba Kaien came back to his senses, he found that in the entire boundary barrier, there was only a sea of blood formed by the condensed evil spirit. The original situation is reversed again, Deputy Captain Kaien. Thanks to your demonstration, I have seen through Nejibana's moves during the time just now. Ling Yun expressed his gratitude sincerely, but did not show mercy. You've been imitating my fighting habits? Shiba Kaien froze. It's not so much imitation as learning. Ling Yun slowly raised Yanmo and raised it above his head. Shinigami have the same commonality, and naturally there is similar room for growth. And your Zanpakutō Nejibana is the best Zanpakutō among the most flowing Zanpakutō. Of course I won't miss this opportunity easily. Just as he was speaking, Ling Yun already had the water attribute Ryotsu accumulated on Yanmo's blade. Scimitar slash. No fancy tricks. Ling Yun swung the death scythe, accumulated Ryotsu on the blade, and slashed forward. Clatter. The silent blood evil spirit surged like a tide. A slash in the shape of a crescent moon, almost to the point of substance, galloped towards Shiba Kaien. Shit. What a powerful slash. Even after reacting instantly, Shiba Kaien still felt palpitations. The bloody crescent that hit him head-on contained a terrifying evil spirit, which even made him despair. You know, he is known as a genius, and he is the ceiling of the 1.6 captain of the vice team. Before the start of this duel, Shiba Kaien never dreamed that he would become so passive. 3 seats of Ling Yun. You really deserve to be Mao's #1 genius. Shiba Kaien gritted his teeth, desperately grasped the blue trident, and thrust it horizontally in front of him. And the next second, the bloody crescent followed closely. Boom. Accompanied by a deafening bang. The 5-fold boundary barrier fell apart in an instant, shattering like a mirror. The water curtain formed by the evil spirit, like covering the sky and covering the sun, occupied everyone's field of vision. And Shiba Kaien's body is also submerged in it. This means. Without any suspense, Ling Yun completed the random drop. At the same time, I also got the mission reward, Ice Attribute Awakening. Chapter 104 Hiranmaru 100 years ago, I lost. Kaien he lost. Jashiro Yukitaki had a complicated expression as he watched the bloody scene inside the barrier. I thought that my adjutant would win without any suspense. As for failure, it's not just the medicine jar. Shiba Kaien himself probably didn't expect such a result. Captain Jashiro, I didn't expect this result at all, Yoruichi said with a half-smile. The conversion of different attributes perfectly reproduces Zanpakutō skills, and a scimitar slashing technique that incorporates evil spirit. Ling Yun brought too many surprises. So much so that Yoruichi, who has always been picky, felt his eyes shine. She was totally shocked. Within the boundary barrier, holding the death scythe in his hand, Ling Yun stood in a sea of blood, as fierce as a hell Shira. It seems that my conjecture is correct. In addition to sword skills, Shiki and Yanmo can also be integrated in Zanpakutō ability. Ling Yun's emotions were a little agitated. In fact, the bloody scene is similar to Sister Hua's Bankai. This is also the result of Ling Yun's deliberate imitation. After all, holding the full attribute Zanpakutō, Ling Yun has the capital to deliberately imitate, which is also the most unique feature of Yanmo. Re-engraving Nejibana's Shikai, and re-engraving Waji 11's Bankai. Through this duel of geniuses, Ling Yun seems to have opened a new door and found a new path to the top of Shinigami. If you have the opportunity, you must fight against more different categories, as well as the famous Zanpakutō. Ling Yun has a clear goal. Actual combat is the most effective method. Only by observing, feeling and imitating at close range can we use the characteristics of multiple attributes to reproduce the opponent's tricks and abilities within a short period of time. This is what Ling Yun has planned. To realize the plan, he, of course, had his eye on some famous Zanpakutō. Ryujin Jaka of Fire, the Ground Wind of the Wind System. Yan Lingen of the Thunder System. These famous Zanpakutō were among his goals. If all abilities can be replicated, then Ling Yun's strength will be stronger than ever. Just then, the system prompt sounded. Congratulations to host, you have completed the random task, and the name of a genius has been rectified. Mission rewards, frozen attribute elements. Hearing the mission prompt, Ling Yun was overjoyed. At this moment, he clearly felt that Ryotsu had transformed with an extra freezing force. Following the previous 6 attributes, Ling Yun has mastered another attribute. It also means, an unprecedentedly powerful, ice-type Zanpakutō is born. Just in this gap, the blood in the boundary-breaking barrier dissipated like an ebbing tide as Ryotsu converged. The Shiba Kaien, which was previously submerged, reappears within sight. No way. Kaien is hurt like this. Chojiro Yukitaki's heart tightened when he saw his adjutant's scarred appearance. Because of the erosion of the evil spirit and the cutting of the sword energy, Shiba Kaien's dead bully outfit can hardly be seen in its complete shape. Not only was his body covered in bloodstains, but even holding the trident seemed weak. Shiba Kaien is on the verge of falling, as if it will fall down at any moment. As the leader of Shiba and the topic of jingling, he has always enjoyed the aura of genius. It's a pity that the glory of a genius is dimmed in front of another genius. This is a contest between geniuses. Shiba Kaien lost in a mess. Vice Captain Kaien, I'm sorry, the shot seems a bit heavy. Ling Yun also apologized for Shiba Kaien's injury. But he was also helpless. In fact, this is just a routine operation. After all, the full-level scimitar slashing technique is so powerful. Of course, Ling Yun is not only good at talking. With a thought in his mind, the Ryotsu in his body rioted, and the divine healing technique was activated instantly. After the sound of the surging tide, countless dazzling holy radiances suddenly emerged from Ling Yun's body. All ordinary holy light shines, exuding a sacred afterglow. The full-level divine healing technique is launched. What kind of trick is this? His eyes were so pierced by the holy light that he almost couldn't open them. Shiba Kaien's expression changed slightly. Illuminated by the divine radiance, he could clearly feel that all the scars on his body were healing at an unimaginable speed. After just a few seconds, he was resurrected with full blood. Is this still the Kaido I know? Originally his complexion was a little pale, but after a series of surprises, Chojiro Yukitaki's facial muscles were almost on the verge of twitching. He, who has always been refined and kind, knocked over the teacup with a flick of his arm, and was splashed all over by the tea. Also shocked, there was Yoruichi beside him. She pursed her lips and wiped her eyes more than once, with an expression of disbelief. Without any action, Kaido's healing technique is launched instantly, and it is a large-scale healing in the air. Ling Yun's full-level divine healing technique, it directly overturned Yoruichi's cognition. Ling Yun 3 seats, this matchup, I am convinced to lose. Shiba Kaien's tone was heavy. At first, he was a little annoyed, even unwilling to admit defeat. The appearance of the full-level divine healing technique was like pouring cold water on him, instantly extinguishing all resentment. Captain Chojiro has won the prize, he is far behind you. In addition, the awakening of the ice attribute also gained a lot. Deputy Captain Kaien has accepted, your Zanpakutō Nejibana is indeed one of the best Zanpakutō. Ling Yun was not complacent, but took the initiative to give it a step down. This time it is a rewarding experience. This duel is finally over. Ling Yun put away the Zanpakutō and nodded to the two of them. That is, make your own Zanpakutō Yamaru into the Hiranmaru from 100 years ago. Sister Yoruichi, Captain Chojiro. Ling Yun responded with humility and courtesy. Ling 370 Cloud 3 seats, I know it in my heart, so you don't have to deliberately flatter. Shiba Kaien smiled relievedly, and the trident in his hand changed back to its original appearance. Ling Yun, the fighting power you showed really surprised me. Chojiro Yukitaki looked at Ling Yun with a completely different gaze at first. That is a kind of recognition for the strong, and it can even be said to be equal. Obviously, Chojiro Yukitaki, has already accepted that Ling Yun is a captain-level force. Shiba Kaien lost heartily, however, the awakening of the ice attribute gave him a brand new goal. Captain Yoruichi is right. Both Zanpakutō Yanma and Nejibana have shown amazing abilities, and they are really awesome. Chojiro Yukitaki calmed down and smiled gratifiedly. Ling Yun, Kaien, thank you for your hard work. Yoruichi stood up in time to smooth things over. Thanks to you too, I have the opportunity to appreciate such a wonderful contest. If it weren't for the two captains to tie the knot, there would not be this opportunity to discover Yan Mo's ability to reproduce. Chapter 105 Sister Hua's Love Letter. Time is like a fleeting moment. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Ling Yun's little vacation also came to an end. The 4th Division Isle. Ling Yun 3 seats. Ling Yun 3 seats. Ling Yun 3 seats. When Ling Yun was walking in the aisle, the passers-by of Team 4 greeted him proactively. Everyone looked at Ling Yun with strong admiration, as if looking at a rising supernova. Ling Yun nodded her head one by one, and responded with a gentle smile, showing her approachable side. Of course. Da Qianshan's father, who I met before, is also close to people with hundreds of millions, and he is also rich and rich. This is something Ling Yun is ashamed of, quickly. Along the long winding corridor, Ling Yun finally came to the team office. As soon as he walked into the gate, he rushed towards him with the scent of tea. Ling Yun quickly looked at the wooden table and found that Unohana Retsu was practicing the tea ceremony. Captain Unohana Retsu, Ling Yun greeted warmly. For Sister Hua, he always remained in awe and did not cross the line too much. Such a woman who is full of self-cultivation, gentle temperament, and unprecedented strength. Almost perfection personified. It is not an exaggeration to describe it as a goddess. Ling Yun, you are here. How are you doing these few days of vacation? Unohana Retsu looked up, showing a graceful smile. So, nothing special happened. Ling Yun came to the wooden table and sat down. Beating Shiba Kaien, is such a glorious deed a trivial matter? Unohana Retsu gracefully picked up the teacup and handed it to Ling Yun. Ling Yun immediately froze. Did it leak so quickly? The members of the 13th Division have too much tongue. Ling Yun's inner drama was quickly seen through by Sister Hua. She chuckled and said, Ling Yun, you should be proud of this kind of thing, right? Why are you covering it up instead? Captain Unohana Retsu, don't kill me. Ling Yun smiled wryly and shrugged. I had planned to keep a low profile. It seems that the strength is still not allowed. Ling Yun silently shook his head. It is said that in that contest, you fused evil energy and flowing water. Unohana Retsu asked curiously. In fact, she only knew the general idea and didn't know much about the specific details. As Ling Yun's kendo teacher, Sister Hua is naturally very concerned. Well, I condensed the Phantom of Ashura according to the method you taught, and then merged the two forces. Ling Yun took the initiative to confess the process. I see. It seems that during the few days of rest, you have become more proficient in controlling the evil spirit. Unohana Retsu nodded with a chuckle. As the saying goes, a famous teacher produces a good apprentice. With Sister Hua's identity as a great swordsman, coupled with strict teaching methods, it is only natural that Ling Yun can make such progress. Then we can start the new class today. Ling Yun asked expectantly. After being a salted fish for 3 days, he was empty and decadent, and he became full of energy again. In order to fully master Yachi Ryu Kendo. Go. In the next period of time, I will teach you sword skills and moves in batches according to the strength level. Sister Hua gave a satisfactory answer. Isn't it too late? Are you in such a hurry? You haven't finished your tea yet. Sister Hua was amused by Ling Yun again. The anxious appearance of the monkey makes people laugh. I'm very sorry, I seem to be a little impatient, let's have some hot tea first. Ling Yun rubbed her head in embarrassment. He wished he could dig a hole right away and bury himself in the soil. Ling Yun. Tea ceremony and kendo seem to have nothing to do with each other, but in fact they complement each other. Don't underestimate the tea ceremony, it pays attention to self-cultivation, and pays attention to the cultivation of the state of mind. Sister Hua's explanation played the role of pointing out the maze, and immediately let Ling Yun get rid of all distracting thoughts. Cultivate the mind with tea and calm the mind. This is how Sister Hua has kept her heart like Shisui for so many years. I understand. Ling Yun nodded half understanding. Appreciate tea, smell tea, make tea, drink tea. In fact, before this, his understanding of the tea ceremony was only superficial. After some guidance from Sister Hua, Ling Yun decided to calm down and think about the tea ceremony when I have time. The whole afternoon, both Ling Yun and Sister Hua are training in the sword gym. Sword skill, Storm Pheasant's Mouth. With Ling Yun's burst of shouting sounded. A blood-colored ice bird condensed from ice attribute Reiatsu soared in the midair of the sword hall. Wherever the ice bird went, the air condensed into ice, and hoarfrost appeared on the ground. It turned into a pure white land. Ice Zanpakutō. I haven't seen you for a few days, and Yanmo has awakened a new ability. Sister Hua's exclamation came from behind. She silently stared at the ground, her beautiful eyes shining brightly. As one of the oldest Shinigami, Waji has been exposed to the ice Zanpakutō many times over the past 2,000 years. If it is an ordinary ice-type Zanpakutō, Unohana Retsu will definitely be surprised. But, now it is Ling Yun's Yanmo. You know, when we first met, Yanmo in Ling Yun's hand was still a thunder-type Zanpakutō. I was on vacation a few days ago, fought against Shiba Kaien, and became Zanpakutō in the flowing water system again. Now it is an ice-type Zanpakutō. No matter how rich her experience was, Sister Hua was almost betrayed. Is it really the full attribute Zanpakutō? Well, the ability of the ice attribute is just barely used to it. Ling Yun nodded subconsciously. The blood-colored ice bird that appeared just now is a brand new sword technique created by him using the ice attribute Reiatsu and combining it with Yachi Ryu Kendo. It can be regarded as the perfect curtain call for today's practice. She took out a letter from her pocket and handed it to Ling Yun. Ling Yun almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. After a long time, it turned out that I wanted to fart the village. 2 days ago, Urahara-sanshi came to see you, but I couldn't see anyone, so I left a letter. Sister Wa explained with a light smile. Of course, it's not a polite word, but it really comes from the heart. Puff. I should feel lucky that I can become the apprentice of a great swordsman. Ling Yun started the business mutual promotion mode. As soon as this idea came up, it was immediately extinguished by Sister Wa. Is this a love letter from Sister Wa to herself? Sister Wa suddenly remembered something. Correct. Captain Unohana Retsu, what is this letter? Without Sister Hua's careful teaching, kendo practice would not be smooth sailing. This is too powerful. The beautiful illusion was suddenly shattered. Ling Yun, every time you practice kendo, you will bring surprises. I really didn't miss it at the beginning. Sister Wa showed a relieved smile again. Li Nuo. Ling Yun felt a little caught off guard. Chapter 106 Mysterious Soul Research. Aren't you going to open it and have a look? Sister Wa smiled like an old mother. Shouldn't something good happen? Ling Yun opened the letter while talking to himself. The above content comes into view. Ling Yun, Drunk Fairy is here today. There is an urgent matter, I need your help. It was only a short sentence, but it caught Ling Yun's attention. Based on his understanding of the store manager, this god-tier high IQ will not be easily stumped. Now leave this letter. Is it an experiment with Hogyoku? Just thinking about it, Ling Yun became emotional. God's thing Hogyoku. It has always been a legendary treasure that he yearns for. Regardless of whether you can control Hogyoku, at least you have the opportunity to participate in the process and witness the origin and birth of Hogyoku. This is what Ling Yun is most looking forward to now. Ling Yun, there should be something special about the third Urahara seat? Unohana Retsu was considerate, glanced out the window, and immediately suggested, it's getting late, let's end today's lesson. Captain Unohana Retsu, then I'll leave first. Ling Yun expressed his gratitude respectfully, then hurriedly left the team office. Ling Yun. Looking at Ling Yun's back as he drifted away. A complex look flashed in Unohana Retsu's beautiful eyes. Unknowingly, she has gradually gotten used to spending time alone with Ling Yun. In Ling Yun's body, Sister Wa found a long-lost sense of familiarity. That's right. That's my past self. Start from scratch and devote yourself to practice. With the goal of great swordsman, embark on the road of kendo practice. Sister Wa, who was more than 2,000 years ago, also had a heart of persistent pursuit like Ling Yun. Time flies, more than 2,000 years later, everything is like reincarnation. Ling Yun turned out to be born. It made Unohana Retsu, the heart that had been silent for many years, once again had a wave of waves. Of course. It's just a seed of affection, it takes more time for it to take root and thrive. But at least for now, Ling Yun has completely won Sister Hua's favor. Evening. As night falls, the stars shine. Ling Yun came to run Linan. The store manager is a fine person. Before asking others for help, he didn't forget to reward him with a good meal. Ling Yun strolled on the street, walking towards Drunk Fairy. The streets of the night market are very popular, and shouts can be heard everywhere. Run Linan, the block with the number 1 ranking, is as popular as ever. As Drunken Fairy is a long-established brand and located in a prime location in the downtown area, Ling Yun soon arrived here. His arrival immediately caused a sensation. Look, isn't that Ling Yun? The strongest genius in the legend, now the 3rd seed of the 4th team. It is said that he has a special hobby, like drinking milk of various flavors. The guests in the izakaya began to talk about it. Ling Yun instantly had the feeling of being watched like a monkey. Nima. Where did I get the gossip? Why didn't I know that I like to drink milk? A vein popped out of Ling Yun's forehead, and he almost couldn't help rolling his eyes. These guys. They really dared to spread rumors. Ling Yun 3 seats, I haven't seen you for a few months, your popularity is getting hotter and hotter. The owner of the izakaya came over. Being able to manage the drunken immortal so well, he is naturally no ordinary person. Touts a natural routine. Boss, where is Urahara's 3rd seat? He should have reserved a private room, right? Ling Yun nodded. He is really indifferent to polite words. Urahara 3 seats, I have been waiting in the private room for a long time, I will take you there right away. The boss immediately made a gesture of invitation. For a topical character like Ling Yun, he naturally shows the greatest enthusiasm. Just joining the team has 3 seats, and the future achievements are completely predictable. It is only a matter of time before being promoted to captain. Ingratiate Ling Yun in advance. Naturally, it is something an old fried dough stick will definitely do. Later, under the leadership of the boss, Ling Yun came to the designated private room. Similar to the first time, the decoration style of the private room is based on the classical style. Antique and unique. It's really rare that the store manager would like this style. Ling Yun expressed strong doubts. If things go wrong, there must be demons. He immediately realized that things were not easy. As soon as Ling Yun entered the room, he heard a familiar voice. Tisk tisk tisk. Brother Ling Yun, oh. It's Ling Yun's third seat, we haven't seen each other for a long time, right? Urahara Kazuki remained out of tune as usual. Asking for flowers. Point 0 he was wearing wooden clogs, wearing a deadly costume, holding a folding fan in his hand, and a jug of fine wine, a special product of Zuiju Xian, in front of him. Third seat Urahara, why are you getting more and more sloppy? Ling Yun blurted out. Urahara Kazuki's face is covered with thin stubble, and this rough look looks a bit like a homeless man. It's not hard to imagine. How has the store manager been these past few months? It must be hiding in the laboratory all day, tinkering with his genius inventions. Ling Yun, don't talk so much, I've already poured the wine for you. Urahara Kazuki pushed the wine glass to Ling Yun. No, I'm allergic to alcohol, so I won't drink tonight. Ling Yun's first reaction was to politely decline. Joke. The last time I drank tea and had diarrhea. It's still vivid after a few months, he won't be fooled again. Hey, you are very vigilant, you are so afraid of me taking medicine. Urahara Kazuki waved the folding fan leisurely. Even if the prank was exposed, he was still calm and composed, with a thick skin to a certain level. Say it. Call me here on purpose, it shouldn't be as simple as reminiscing about the old days, right? Ling Yun went straight to the point and didn't intend to beat around the bush. Ling Yun, do you still remember the idea I proposed a few months ago? Urahara Kazuki's expression instantly became serious. You mean the Technology Development Bureau? Ling Yun understood. That's right, the prisoners in the maggot lair, I need their help urgently. Urahara Kazuki frowned rarely. No way. Ling Yun expressed shock. It is an experiment that can make the store manager feel tricky, and also requires a lot of help from outside forces. Is it possible? Is it really the Hogyoku experiment? Hey, Ling Yun, to be honest, I'm doing soul research recently. Urahara Kazuki's words, like a heavy bomb, blasted into Ling Yun's heart instantly. Soul research? Have you finally made it this far? Ling Yun was instantly ecstatic. I'm confused, right? It's actually an unintentional thought, and that's why I asked you to come here today. Urahara Kazuki solemnly explained. I want to invite you to an experiment, Urahara Kazuki finally said the purpose and. Chapter 107 Urahara Kazuki's Crazy Experiment. Tonight, I want to invite you to an experiment. Urahara Kazuki solemnly stated the purpose. From his expression, it is not difficult to judge the seriousness of this matter. 3-seat Urahara, what is the experiment? Ling Yun looked at Urahara Kazuki. He had a strong premonition. This experiment must be extraordinary. Urahara Kazuki didn't answer directly. He looked around vigilantly, and then lowered his voice. Ling Yun, it's not suitable to go into details here, you should follow me to the management team. I see. Under the gaze of the store manager, he nodded. Even if the privacy of the box is high enough, it is very likely that the partition wall has ears. It's better to be cautious about this kind of thing. Ever since the two hit it off, the drunkard's intention was not to drink, the banquet ended in a hurry, and the two left the izakaya very quickly. 953. Late at night, stealthy maneuvers, managed teams. Urahara Kazuki's personal bedroom. Third seat Urahara, you are such an infrastructure genius, you even built a basement here. Ling Yun's exclamation came from the room. At the beginning, Ling Yun was almost confused. The whole room was in disarray, with ordinary wooden tables and chairs, which seemed nothing special. It wasn't until the store manager opened the mechanism and the secret passage leading to the basement appeared that Ling Yun discovered a new world. It can be dug there at the Hill of Two Desperations, and it can even be dug at the side of the stealth maneuver. Ling Yun had to sigh with emotion. Urahara Kazuki is really possessed by an excavator. Hush. Don't be too Zhongyong about this kind of thing. Urahara Kazuki smiled lightly. The slightly raised corners of the mouth seemed to have a subtext. Isn't this a routine operation? Can you elaborate now? Ling Yun asked expectantly. He held back all the way, and finally waited for the opportunity. Ling Yun, let's go to the basement first, and you will understand when you get there. Urahara Kazuki looked at the entrance of the secret passage, and his expression immediately became serious. Ling Yun remained silent. The two, one in front and one behind, entered the blocking court. Soon after, along the winding corridor, the two arrived at the basement. Wow! Ling Yun's first reaction was that he couldn't help being amazed. The scene in the basement brought a strong shock. Experimental instruments, large and small, are scattered in every corner of the basement according to certain rules. Many tubes are filled with liquids of various colors, and they emit a pungent smell. Apparently every day and night that passed, Urahara Kazuki has been here and conducted countless experiments. Ling Yun, now you can understand why I am ashamed. Urahara Kazuki smiled helplessly. Limited by the size of the venue, and privacy must be ensured. In fact, objectively speaking, the environment and conditions of the experiment can be described as difficult. No way. More than 100 years ago, the Technology Development Bureau had not yet been established. Any scientific experiment will not be supported, and it may even lead to fire. In desperation, Urahara Kazuki could only come secretly to avoid unnecessary trouble. It is precisely for this reason why he desires to free the prisoner of the maggot nest. There is great power in numbers. Relying on the efforts of one person, even with the strongest brain, will eventually feel exhausted. Only when the Technology Development Bureau is established and recognized by the outside world can higher-level experiments be carried out. Oh, don't worry, I will try my best to help you. Ling Yun immediately felt the same way. Only by witnessing it with your own eyes will you have a more intuitive feeling. He finally understood why Urahara Kazuki was recognized by Aizen. In addition to his superior IQ, Urahara Kazuki also has the quality of perseverance. He was able to create Hogyoku, the divine being, not a coincidence. Hey, I'm just waiting for your words. Urahara Kazuki smiled happily and quickly changed the subject, but for now, let's put this matter aside for the time being, and let me show you around first. That side is the experimental area, and this side is the finished product area, and the rest is the restricted area. Urahara Kazuki walked in front and introduced while leading the way. He quickly led Ling Yun to the finished product area. Urahara, 3 seats, are these all your inventions? Looking at the dazzling array of objects on the experimental iron frame, Ling Yun couldn't help being amazed. Ling Yun, don't make a fuss, it's just some small items, you can take them if you want. Urahara Kazuki shook his head amusedly. Small objects. Excuse me. Ling Yun recognized many familiar props just by looking at them. Apart from all kinds of skeletons, the one that caught his eye the most was the black cloak. That's right. It is the one that can be completely hidden after wearing it. The user's Ryatsu will fluctuate, and it will play the role of hiding the whereabouts. In the original plot, the night of the Hollow Knight accident, Ling Yun and Tessai Tsukabishi, wearing this black cloak, rushed to the scene to rescue. Unexpectedly, the black cloak was born so early. Shop manager, can you give me this black cloak? Ling Yun asked tentatively. There are still a lot of stocks, just take them if you want. Urahara Kazuki readily agreed. For him, making a black cloak would not take too much effort. So it doesn't matter if you give it for nothing. Thanks, I will treasure it. Ling Yun was in a happy mood and wrapped up the black cloak. Okay, the tour is over, now it's time to get down to business. Urahara Kazuki cleared his throat, and his expression quickly changed slightly. The atmosphere suddenly became serious. Ling Yun, there is a sealed experimental instrument in that restricted area. Do you know what's in it? Urahara Kazuki micro eyes. Not sure. Ling Yun silently shook his head. Virtual soul. Answer given by Urahara Kazuki. For an instant, Ling Yun's expression froze. Knew it, I sure wasn't wrong. Ling Yun's eyes burst into intense light. In fact, he vaguely guessed it, but he was not fully sure. After all, these words represent the meaning. In fact, Ling Yun is very clear about the origin of Hogyoku. 0.2 The birth of Hogyoku is to use a large number of empty souls as the material and medium of experiments. I didn't expect this moment to come. Ling Yun's mood at the moment is indescribable. Ling Yun. I have a bold idea, and I wonder if you'd like to help. Urahara Kazuki's gaze, unobtrusive, fell on Zanpakutō Enma. Say it. Ling Yun nodded noncommittally. There is nothing more exciting than being a part of the birth of Hogyoku. I hope to use the remaining virtual soul in the instrument to fuse with Yanmo's Ryatsu. When the store manager revealed the purpose of the experiment, Ling Yun instantly became ecstatic. Shinigami Ryatsu, the soul of Y, isn't that the fabled hollow? P.S. I have something to do today, and it will be stable and more updated tomorrow. I am very sorry. Chapter 108 First Hollow. Shinigami Ryatsu, Virtual Soul. Isn't that the legendary hollow? Ling Yun's expression froze instantly. Hollow refers to pouring Shu's soul into Shinigami's soul, thereby destroying the original boundary. Once successfully fused with each other, Shinigami's soul will be sublimated, thus gaining more powerful power. Hollow of Shinigami, Shinigami of Pro. In essence, it is to break the original bottleneck, so as to break through the original limitation. Of course, Hollow's process is extremely dangerous, and even a little carelessness may pay the price of life. More important, virtual, and anything related to it, is considered taboo by the Soul Society. And trying the hollow experiment is a depraved behavior. Sentence, execution. This is the inevitable end. Even Urahara Kazuki came into contact with the soul experiment by accident. Urahara, 3 seats, are you serious? Ling Yun touched his chin, showing an interested expression. Ling Yun. Why'd I feel like you're excited? Urahara Kazuki frowned. Considering that Ling Yun will refuse from 11 to 11, Urahara Kazuki has thought about how to deal with this situation in advance. To be honest, he is not sure that he can convince Ling Yun. After all, the fusion of Shu's soul is actually the hollow experiment. Most people would not risk their lives to try such a desperate thing. Am I excited? You read it wrong. Ling Yun pretended to be serious, restraining all expressions. His appearance immediately made the store manager shake his head again and again. His invitation was ruthlessly rejected. This is what Urahara Kazuki is thinking at the moment. Give yourself a cool song. Ling Yun, I can understand that you don't want to. This matter sounds really outrageous. After all, with an optimistic attitude, Urahara Kazuki quickly recovered. He didn't have any complaints. Instead, I am grateful to Ling Yun. Among other things, trust alone is priceless. Urahara 3 seats, you really have a lot of plays, I shouldn't have refused just now, right? Ling Yun's next words were like a life-saving straw. Instantly let the store manager rekindle hope. Ling Yun, don't you? That's right. I can't wait to try fusion. Ling Yun couldn't help laughing. Just now he was pretending to be serious just to scare Urahara Kazuki. Who let this incomprehensible guy cheat himself more than once by playing pranks before? Looking at Urahara Kazuki's dejected expression just now, Ling Yun immediately felt comfortable. I knew it. Urahara Kazuki was emotional. You are really trustworthy. Tisk tisk tisk. There are 3 Urahara seats, so the commercial bragging will be avoided. Let's get into the topic quickly. Ling Yun quickly said to stop. Then let me explain briefly. Urahara Kazuki paused for a moment, and organized his words carefully. You, Zanpakutō Yama, have the ability to fuse multi-attribute Ryotsu, you should be right? Although Zanpakutō Yanmo had not yet awakened when he was in contact with him before. Thoughtful Urahara Kazuki, through deduction of some details, still learned the truth. That's right. Ling Yun nodded noncommittally. Regarding Yanmo's ability, it has been demonstrated many times, and there is no need to hide it. This is the most critical point. Urahara Kazuki was emotional, raised his hands in excitement, and merged different attributes. This matter itself violated the principle of Zanpakutō, but it was a perfect opportunity. 1. So I was thinking, since Shinigami's different Ryotsu can blend flawlessly. What about the empty soul? With Yanmo's ability, once he merges into Shu's soul, what kind of changes will happen? Urahara Kazuki breathed out a series of conjectures. It is not difficult to see that the hollow experiment has made him forget food and sleep. The seemingly lighthearted Urahara Kazuki, like Kuretsuchi Mayuri, finally showed the crazy side of scientific research. Urahara 3 seats, I am also very interested in what you said. Ling Yun's momentum was awakened. In fact, Urahara Kazuki's conjecture was also one of his original plans. Gain hollow power. This is something that must be faced in the future. It's just that Ling Yun didn't expect to embark on the road of hollow experiment under the circumstances of accidents. He can only feel the wonder of fate, so are you ready? Urahara Kazuki took a deep breath. As the emotions gradually calmed down, he regained his sanity. He knew better than anyone the danger of the hollow experiment. If anything goes wrong and Ling Yun is in danger, he will be ashamed to see Yoruichi. Don't worry, you don't need to worry too much. The experimental material like me is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ling Yun made a joke at the right time. In order to get in touch with hollow, he is willing to be a guinea pig. In addition, the particularity of Yanmo is also the source of Ling Yun's confidence. He dared to face unknown dangers. Soon after, the hollow experiment begins. Ling Yun came to the forbidden zone, and was seated in a special instrument with many catheters connected to his body. It's one thing to joke around. When I really became a guinea pig, I was actually a little nervous. But when I think about it, what if it succeeds? With the increase in strength brought by hollow, Ling Yun immediately became bloody. Ling Yun. I will pull down the control lever later, and then the virtual soul in the container will be injected into the body along these conduits 307 through the flow of spirit particles. Urahara Kazuki held his breath. He was equally uneasy. Let's start. Ling Yun closed her eyes and entered a state of emptiness. Bang! As Urahara Kazuki activated the instrument, a loud and piercing mechanical sound spread to every corner of the basement. Next moment, Shu and Shinigami. Even if Ling Yun was already mentally prepared. The natural opposition and repulsion caused Ling Yun to feel a severe pain of tearing his soul. The pain just now eased a little. Ling Yun clenched her teeth desperately. Only when Yanmo's power is completely released. But the moment this force hit, he still let out a howl. Ling Yun, who was sitting in it, immediately had an obvious feeling. His Zanpakutō Yama, actually Shikai by himself. The veins on Ling Yun's face twitched fiercely, and he firmly grasped the handlebars on both sides with both hands. This feeling was so heartbreaking that it was almost unbearable for him. Rampage, bloodthirsty, evil. So this is the so-called hollow experiment? More importantly, and this is just the prelude to the experiment. Whoa, Shu's unique violent aura continuously penetrated into Ling Yun's body through the unique spirit wave. Holding the death scythe in his hand, Ryotsu erupted suddenly in his body, and a black light surrounded him. Chapter 109 Death Carved Mask, so that's how hollow felt. The veins on Ling Yun's face twitched fiercely, and he grabbed the handlebars on both sides with both hands. If it wasn't for the protection of Yanmo's Ryotsu, the severe pain of tearing the soul was so severe that the will was on the verge of collapse. One can imagine. How dangerous is hollow? Ling Yun, can you still hold on? Urahara Kazuki's palm never left the control stick. He stared at Ling Yun intently, and the other's facial expression affected his emotions. In case Ling Yun has any discomfort, Urahara Kazuki would stop the experiment immediately. I can still go on. Even if he squeezed out these words, Ling Yun was sweating profusely. Because of the severe pain, his facial muscles were close to twitching. At this moment Ling Yun finally understood. Why in the original plot, when Aizen conducted the hollow experiment, the souls of those Shinigami would disappear out of thin air. The reason is simple. That is, the strength of one's own soul is not high enough. Only the soul, which has reached a certain strength, can resist the erosion of virtual power. Otherwise, the soul collapses and the spirit body disappears. Death is inevitable. Ling Yun, if the pain is unbearable, don't hold on to it. Urahara Kazuki felt a little unbearable. Even without personally participating, the store manager still feels the same through Ling Yun's expression. The pain of the hollow experiment, far more terrifying than he expected. Continue to experiment. Roaring words, word by word popped out of his mouth. Even though his forehead was covered with beads of sweat, Ling Yun still gritted his teeth and persisted, and did not give up lightly. You know, it took decades for the members of the Masked Legion to barely control Hollow's power. And now it's just the prelude to the experiment. Giving up easily is a younger brother's behavior. Hollow experiment continues. Ling Yun, store manager. Both of them had strong expectations for this soul experiment. Once successfully fused, that would be an unprecedented feat and would represent breaking the boundaries between Shinigami and horses. That will open a new door to a higher apex, for the next period of time. As time goes by, the intensity of the hollow increases and so does the pain. Isn't Ling Yun fainting? Urahara Kazuki tried to sense it. Keksu's unique violent breath collided with Yanmo's Ryatsu. Cause Ling Yun's Ryatsu ups and downs, it is impossible to judge his state. Even Yanmo's ability is ineffective. It seems that this road really doesn't work. Urahara Kazuki was overshadowed. The reason why he tried the hollow experiment was, on the one hand, a whim, and on the other hand, to seek a breakthrough. After the strength reaches the threshold of the captain level, Urahara Kazuki is not so far away from the top of Shinigami, although there is still a distance. He felt more and more that the apex of Shinigami was not the end. If you find a suitable method, you will definitely be able to break through in one fell swoop, and then move towards a higher dimension. That's why he is obsessed with scientific research. The store manager firmly believes in the power of science, and uses this to find another way. Unfortunately, the hollow experiment is about to fail, and he will inevitably feel disappointed. Or forget it, Ling Yun seems to be on the verge of limit. Urahara Kazuki waited over and over again and decided to stop the experiment. The moment he was about to pull down the control lever, the miracle light appeared. Dazzling white light echoed from Ling Yun's body like a soul revived. The sudden change immediately attracted the store manager's attention. This is... Urahara Kazuki's expression changed drastically. He can clearly sense that all the white rays of light have a substantial orientation. No way? Soul fusion enters the next stage? The store manager was overjoyed. I had planned to give up, but I didn't expect things to turn around and unexpectedly enter the next stage. However, the store manager did not breathe a sigh of relief, but became more nervous. After all, soul experiments are full of unknowns and dangers, and if they are not done well, they will pay the price of their lives. No one can guarantee 100%. Ling Yun. Urahara Kazuki tried to call. But Ling Yun didn't respond. Could it be that the soul has undergone a mutation? Urahara Kazuki fidgeted and became momentarily dazed. Even in the corridor of the Great Spirit Book, there have never been any materials and documents related to hollow. Hence the direction of this soul experiment. Urahara Kazuki had no idea at all. Just in this gap, those dazzling white rays of light have reached a point where they are completely substantive. In the blink of an eye, it turns into a special white substance. Click, 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 a clear and condensed voice passed by the store manager's ears. I saw these white substances condensed into a white bone mask on Ling Yun's face. No, has the rare Shushu's soul really merged with Yanmo's Ryatsu? Urahara Kazuki had a rare gaffe. His eyes widened desperately, and there was a look of horror in the pupils under the yellow hair. The atmosphere fell into a deathly silence. Thump thump. Thump thump. Thump thump. The entire basement became silent, only the heartbeat of the store manager. His nerves were tense and he stared intently, not daring to relax his vigilance at all. But suddenly, boom, after the deafening bang. A dark red Ryatsu, like a tsunami, erupted suddenly. Urahara Kazuki's heart beat hard. Since Yanmo fluctuates, it also has the characteristics of virtual violence. The two forces that should have been repelled unexpectedly merged together because of a certain delicate balance. To some extent, has the transformation been successful? It's incredible. This kind of thing, it is estimated that only Yanmo can accidentally merge? As a scientist pursuing ultimate, he can make unprecedented breakthroughs in forbidden soul experiments. Urahara Kazuki's mood at the moment, it has been impossible to describe, Jiao Wang Jiao, in any words. Pooh. Yuan. At this time, Ling Yun's weak voice came from the side. Urahara Kazuki's mood gradually stabilized. Ling Yun, are you okay? Urahara Kazuki pulled up the lever, interrupting the spirit seed delivery. He hurriedly came to the front, looking at Ling Yun vigorously. I'm fine, although the speech is still intermittent. However, Ling Yun's aura was obviously calmer than before. Apparently it has gradually slowed down. That's good, I'm really worried that something will happen to you. Urahara Kazuki breathed a sigh of relief. If something happened to Ling Yun, he really couldn't explain it to Yoruichi. What happened just now? Ling Yun stood up and walked out of the container. Although the footsteps faltered a bit, the problem was not too serious. The most eye-catching thing is Ling Yun's face Lu. Covered above, a mask inscribed with a special, carved red and black death. Chapter 110 You really became a tutor. Ling Yun's face was covered with a white bone mask. Engraved on it, red and black, carved patterns of death. Just looking at it, Urahara Kazuki has a creepy feeling. Ling Yun. What's with that mask? The store manager swallowed. The more he looked at it, the weirder it became. This special bone mask, coupled with the death scythe Yanmo. It's like the master of darkness. Urahara Kazuki looked calm and looked at Ling Yun intently. But the worry in his eyes showed that he was already in disarray. Of course, in order to hide this, he had to fight hard. Hey. Third seat Urahara, you are also the captain after all, and you are with dangerous criminals every day. Why are you panicking now? Under the death-carved mask, Ling Yun's teasing voice came out. Ling Yun, are you okay? Urahara Kazuki was finally able to catch his breath. Ling Yun's voice sounded quite optimistic. I'm fine, I'm in good shape, it's this mask. Ling Yun touched the mask and took it off. Then put it in your hand, observe it carefully for a while, and have an intuitive feeling. The entire bone mask is pitch black due to its body. Especially on the left and right sides, there is a trace of red 590 on each side, extending towards the bottom. Both sides are engraved with death carvings, revealing a special sense of mystery. Is this a blur mask? Ling Yun narrowed his eyes. In fact, he was not too sure. Since waking up, I haven't felt any strange. Except for this extra mask, the other conditions in the body are the same as before. So he himself is a little confused. Ling Yun, do you have other feelings? Urahara Kazuki leaned forward. He looked at the bone mask curiously, looking forward to Ling Yun's answer. No, it feels like I just fell asleep. Ling Yun shrugged. Click the next moment. The death-carved mask shattered and turned into fine white powder. The only change, too, evaporated. The result of this hollow experiment instantly became a mystery. It shouldn't be. I clearly remember that during the experiment, your body exuded virtual Ryotsu. Urahara Kazuki revealed a key message. Virtual Ryotsu? Ling Yun raised his eyebrows and became even more confused. The mask alone is enough. Even the virtual Ryotsu, BBEC, also appeared. Could it be that I really succeeded in hollow? But why don't you feel anything? Just thinking about it, Ling Yun felt his head was going to explode. It seems that this kind of problem involving science must be left to professionals to solve it. Thinking of this, he looked at Urahara Kazuki and said seriously, Urahara 3 seats, do you want to come again? Ling Yun, don't talk nonsense, I was almost scared to death just now. Urahara Kazuki hastily refused. If it happened again, he would be scared to death. Who can stand this? When you're done enjoying yourself, why don't you just pat your ass and leave? You scumbag. Ling Yun rolled his eyes with contempt. Puff. Where is this going? I'm not a hermaphrodite. The corners of Urahara Kazuki's eyes twitched. What does it mean to have a good time, and what does it mean to be a dead scumbag? He said that his orientation is absolutely normal. Just kidding, if you are serious, you will lose. Ling Yun chuckled triumphantly. Tonight's prank combo made Urahara Kazuki speechless many times. This feeling is simply refreshing. Ling Yun, it's getting late, why don't you go back to the team building first? Urahara Kazuki changed the subject. No, Tien Lu can stay here overnight. Ling Yun looked around curiously. It is a rare opportunity to come here, and he intends to take a good look at it. Maybe the eye will come later, and I will take a few special props along with it. Okay, there is actually an entertainment area over there. Urahara Kazuki looked to the other side. Do you still remember the hot spring we went to together a few months ago? Is there a hot spring here too? Ling Yun's eyes lit up instantly. The hot springs at Shuangji Hill are Urahara Kazuki imitating the aircraft head, which has the same effect after construction. Therefore, every time after soaking in the hot spring, Ling Yun feels refreshed. He misses that feeling so much. Tisk tisk tisk, do you think we'll forget about leisure things like soaking in hot springs? Urahara Kazuki raised his mouth. Then, he came to a secret agency and pressed a start button. Bang accompanied by a harsh sound. Partitions appeared on the floor, a hidden platform that rose without warning. There is really a hot spring. Ling Yun saw the expected scene. In the center of that platform, the steaming hot spring exudes a special aroma. Without saying a word, Ling Yun jumped into the water and took a bath happily. Bold move. The store manager who watched was dumbfounded. The next day, the quarters of the 4th team. Ling Yun was called away by Katetsu Izan as soon as he entered the gate of the team building. Vice Captain Yongyan, why is Tien so mysterious? Ling Yun was very surprised. Because of the Kaido incident last time, the two people who met by chance gradually became acquainted with each other. Perhaps in order to express his gratitude, Katetsu Izan took extra care of him and even had a vague liking for him. This unexpected love affair, Ling Yun himself did not expect it. Ling Yun third seat, not long ago, Captain Kuchiki of the 6th team came and is currently waiting in the team office. Katetsu Izan said softly. What? Captain Kuchiki of Division 6? Ling Yun almost choked on the saliva. He immediately remembered what Yoruichi mentioned before, there's a kid in Kuchiki's house. Is it possible? Ling Yun had a complicated expression. The Kuchiki nobleman, as the head of the 4 major families, is the model for all Shinigami. But when he thought about being able to abuse him, his juvenile body became paralyzed. It has always been the responsibility to maintain and implement the rules of the Soul Society. To be able to attract this boss to come to the door in person, Ling Yun really can't think of any other reason besides finding himself as a tutor. That's right. This silver-haired old man's qualifications and status, looking at the entire Soul Society, there are very few people who surpass him. There is both surprise and expectation. In fact, he was reluctant from the bottom of his heart to deal with the older generation of Shinigami. Surprised, isn't it? Captain Kuchiki Yinling came to visit suddenly and specified that he wanted to meet with you. At that time, the captain and I were shocked. Katetsu Izan covered his mouth and chuckled. The current captain of the 6th division is the grandfather with facial paralysis and the former head of the Kuchiki family. The Kuchiki Silver Bell, which integrates the 3, enjoys a very high right to speak in Jinglingding. Even Captain Yamamoto should be polite when meeting him. Ling Yun couldn't wait to meet. Ling Yun vaguely guessed the result. Fame, prestige, status. Kuchiki Silver Bell, is it? I'm surprised too. Chapter 111 Facial Paralysis is what I hate the most. Soon after. Division 4 Team Affairs Room. Follow Katetsu Izan to the team office. Finally met Ling Yun, that respectable white-haired old man, Kuchiki Yinling. A head of long silver white hair, a bushy beard, and a wrinkled face. The Kuchiki Silver Bell looks full of majesty, with the aura of a superior. After all, having been in a high position all the year round and shouldering the glory of Kuchiki nobility, Kuchiki Yinling's temperament is naturally different. The moment Ling Yun walked into the room, Kuchiki Yinling also noticed his arrival. Ling Yun, you are here, Sister Wa, who was sitting cross-legged in front of the wooden table, greeted first. Captain Unohana Retsu. Ling Yun nodded politely in response, then looked at the white-haired old man. This should be Captain Kuchiki from Division 6, right? 3 seats of Ling Yun. You are as capable as the rumors say. Kuchiki Silver Bell strokes the flower whitebeard. Looked it over from head to toe, then nodded with satisfaction. Meow meow meow. Why is this line so familiar? I don't think I'm wearing a straw hat. Ling Yun touched his head and suddenly felt like going to the wrong set. Sure enough. The old men have similar personalities and tempers. Ling Yun, sit down, drink a cup of green tea in the morning, it can have a refreshing effect. Unohana Retsu, as always, instilled the knowledge of tea ceremony. Ling Yun has long been used to it. Captain Unohana Retsu, after so many years, you are still obsessed with the tea ceremony. This perseverance is really commendable. Kuchiki Yinling praised vehemently. Before Unohana Retsu could respond, he shifted his gaze to Ling Yun. It's no wonder the 3rd seat of Ling Yun is so good. Sure enough, a famous teacher produces an excellent apprentice. Kuchiki Yinling smiled in satisfaction. Puff. Ling Yun almost spit out a mouthful of hot tea. Nima. Can this also apply to me, brother? People are just drinking tea? Ling Yun always felt very strange to hear Kuchiki Yinling's praise. Especially the white-haired old man, with the kindly old father-in-law on his face looking at his son-in-law with relief. It's even more impressive that Ling Yun straightened up. Captain Kuchiki, come here on purpose today, could it be? Before Sister Wa finished speaking, she was interrupted by the old man again. That's right, I'm here for Ling Yun, and I'm planning to discuss something with him today, Kuchiki Yinli directly stated. Sure enough, it's about the family teacher. It seems that Sister Yoruichi has already greeted her in advance. Ling Yun has already made an accurate deduction through the other party's expression. As predicted, Kuchiki Yinling looked at Ling Yun, and asked directly, Ling Yun, although you are not very old, you have amazing talent and strength, and now you have become the 3rd seed of the 4th team. A young genius like you is a model for all younger generations, and they should learn from you. The Kuchiki Silver Bell is a big compliment when it comes up. Even if he had a premonition, Ling Yun almost swelled up after being praised in person. Tut tut. As expected of the head of the Kuchiki family. How can ordinary people stand up to this kind of praise of people's kung fu? So, after the previous foreshadowing, Kuchiki Yinling finally expressed her purpose. Ling Yun, under the witness of Captain Unohana, I hope to invite you to be the tutor of Kuchiki nobles. What do you think of this proposal? He looked straight at Ling Yun, his old wrinkled face rarely showed a nervous expression. Even if it's a Shinigami at the boss level, still afraid of being rejected in person. It's an honor and I'm flattered to be recognized by Captain Kuchiki. Joining Go Day 13, it's been a while. Ling Yun's level of politeness has also been continuously improved. I really didn't see the wrong person. After getting the desired answer, Kuchiki Yinling chuckled in satisfaction. The wrinkled face looks like a shriveled chrysanthemum because of the flowering of laughter. Big guys are big guys. Even the smile is so unique. Ling Yun, from now on, take time out 2 or 3 days a week to go to the mansion of the noble Kuchiki. Unohana Retsu showed her aunt's smile again. Unknowingly, her care for Ling Yun has far surpassed others, even to the point of favoritism. And she didn't even realize it. I can witness with my own eyes that as a newcomer, Ling Yun has become better step by step. Unohana Retsu felt relieved. That's a deal. Kuchiki Yinling is in a good mood. Ask for flowers. He has always placed high hopes on his grandson, Byakuya Kuchiki, and has long regarded facial paralysis as the successor of the next head of the family. It's a pity that team affairs are entangled, and the Kuchiki nobles often have to deal with it. That's why the old man Yinling had no time to look after him, so he had to ask for help from outsiders, and that's why this scene happened now. Of course, Yoruichi's contribution is indispensable. For the future of his younger brother, Yoruichi is heartbroken. Evening. After a whole day of practice, Ling Yun left the team building of the 4th Division, and came to the noble mansion of Kuchiki as promised. My god, it's really worthy of being the head of the 4 nobles, and the decoration here is too grand. Ling Yun couldn't help but marvel just by observing from the outside. The residence of the Kuchiki nobles is not only huge in scale, but also luxuriously decorated, showing the aristocratic style. Not even Shihouin can match it, as Seoul Society, one of the oldest families. The Kuchiki nobles do have Zhongyang's capital. With this heritage, it's no wonder that the Kuchiki nobles have been standing tall for thousands of years. Ling Yun had to admit that he was shocked. But at any rate, he grew up in Shihouin's mansion since he was a child. Ling Yun quickly calmed down and walked towards the entrance of the gate. Ling Yun, 3 seats, this way please. The guards quickly recognized Ling Yun's identity and respectfully walked ahead to lead the way. Arriving inside the mansion, Ling Yun's feelings became more profound. This place is too big. If there is no one to guide the way, you will definitely get lost here. What surprised Ling Yun even more? Every aisle is paved with exquisite marble, and the craftsmanship is impeccable. Finally, I understand. Why is Byakuya Kuchiki always so proud? After experiencing it for himself, Ling Yun suddenly realized. Because of his father's early death, he was placed with high hopes since he was a child, and he inherited the identity of the head of the family. Aristocratic blood flows in his body, and he shoulders the glory of Kuchiki. Pride is inevitable. Of course, in fact, Byakuya Kuchiki is a person who is cold on the outside and hot on the inside, and he is not so arrogant on the surface. But well, although Ling Yun can understand his character, I still can't help but want to complain. What he hates the most is that his face is paralyzed. Chapter 112. I've been fooled. Arrive. Ling Yun, 3 seats. The courtyard in front is where the young master usually practices. The servants of the Kuchiki mansion led Ling Yun to the southeast, in front of a large courtyard. Ling Yun stood at the door, looking into the courtyard. Looking around, it is full of green onions, and there are towering trees everywhere. In addition, a large number of precious flowers are planted in the flower beds on both sides of the aisle, interspersed with the surrounding greenery. The entire courtyard has a comfortable and pleasant environment, with a peaceful atmosphere. I'll just go in by myself. Ling Yun nodded, then he walked leisurely into the courtyard. Brush brush brush. He had just walked a certain distance when he heard the sound of a wooden sword waving. It turns out that the facial paralysis is so tender at this time. Ling Yun followed the sound source, 647, and found a familiar figure. It was a young man with a ponytail. Although his appearance was immature, his facial features were exquisite and handsome. At this time, he was sweating profusely, waving the wooden sword in his hand. Although the movements are blunt, they have the appearance of playing. Obviously, he had already started to get in touch with kendo. Byakuya Kuchiki, right? The facial paralysis that had been concentrating on it, heard a voice from behind. He immediately stopped what he was doing. Turning around with facial paralysis, Ling Yun's smiling face came into view. You are 3rd seed of the 4th Division, Shihouin Ling Yun? Byakuya Kuchiki's complexion changed slightly. To be reasonable, at this time, he is actually not so paralyzed. In addition to the temperament unique to the Kuchiki nobles cultivated since childhood, there is also the innocent drive of a teenager. Of course, everyone is the 4 great nobles, and they are all the next heirs. In terms of temperament, Ling Yun has never lost. All-around facial paralysis. Byakuya Kuchiki, right? Ling Yun smiled slightly. Do you know the purpose of my coming here? I heard from my grandfather beforehand. Byakuya Kuchiki nodded. Yo-ho. It looks pretty cute. Starting from the team building of the 4th Division, he was imagining the scene when they met later. Based on his understanding of facial paralysis, the first reaction after meeting him must be to use a bad face in person. It is conceivable that this is the case, but the reality is quite different. Byakuya Kuchiki not only didn't make a bad face, he didn't even have the slightest arrogance. He was humble and polite from the beginning to the end. Ling Yun did not expect this. In that case, then I'll make it clear. Ling Yun cleared his throat. Starting today, I will be your tutor until you go to the Zhenyang Ling Yun Academy to practice. Ling Yun's words were resounding. In fact, in terms of age alone, he is not much older than Byakuya Kuchiki. However, in terms of strength and achievements, it is far behind by several streets. Although Ling Yun is currently studying under Unohana Retsu, he is fully qualified to take on the role of tutor. I understand. Then Teacher Ling Yun, please give me more advice in the future. Contrary to Ling Yun's expectations, Byakuya Kuchiki bowed to his face. This appearance of humbly giving advice immediately won Ling Yun's favor. You are too polite. Ling Yun's original plan suddenly disappeared because of the harmony just now. For the sake of the sincerity of the facial paralysis, he gave up the idea of playing for a while. Teacher Ling Yun, I heard that you were a master of swordsmanship. Byakuya Kuchiki looked at Ling Yun's girdle. In the big clear eyes, there is a fiery look, and there is a strong desire to win. It's not a master, it can only be considered a barely beginner. Ling Yun smiled. Is it just getting started? Byakuya Kuchiki's expression instantly became sad. Under the tutelage of Kuchiki Yinling, he came into contact with kendo very early and showed extraordinary talent. But because of his special status, most of the time, Byakuya Kuchiki practiced alone and rarely had contact with outsiders. After all, he is only a teenager, and it is rare for a genius to come, and Byakuya Kuchiki will naturally not miss the opportunity. So like a stunned young man, he deliberately challenged Ling Yun. Do you want to compete? The corners of Ling Yun's mouth rose. Naturally, he has no reason to refuse this, proactively giving away the head. Fancy sling later. Do not, it must be bloody. Teacher Ling Yun, why don't you just forget about it? Everyone's level is about the same anyway. Byakuya Kuchiki thought about it, and finally shook his head. About the level? Ling Yun smiled without saying a word. Facial paralysis is really inflated. It was in vain to have a crush on him from the beginning. Well, when we meet for the first time, you should be skeptical, right? Ling Yun asked back. What do you suspect? It's human nature to have doubts about my strength. Ling Yun smiled lightly. Okay, just do as you say. Byakuya Kuchiki held the wooden sword in his hand. He looked at Ling Yun again, with a strong sense of challenge. Facial paralysis is still on the top after all. Soon after. The open space in the center of the courtyard. Ling Yun and Byakuya Kuchiki, standing facing each other. In order to ensure fairness, Ling Yun, like facial paralysis, uses wooden swords. Teacher Ling Yun. Don't underestimate me. I once learned the sword skills of the Kuchiki family from my grandfather. Byakuya Kuchiki said confidently. Kuchiki's sword skills. Ling Yun chuckled disapprovingly. No matter how strong this unique sword skill is, it is only a school after all. The 8,000 streams of kendo mastered by Ling Yun includes all schools in the world. Comparing the two, which one is stronger and which is weaker? I understand it naturally. Well, let me give you 10 moves, just to feel your strength. Ling Yun yawned casually. Byakuya Kuchiki was speechless and silent. The rare boiling fighting spirit was extinguished in an instant. Looking at Ling Yun's insincere look, he felt paralyzed in his heart, as if thousands of muddy horses were galloping past. Too much hay. What is 10 strokes that make you 0.8? I have such a dish. If it weren't for maintaining his aristocratic demeanor, Byakuya Kuchiki would definitely blow up immediately. Anyway, he is also the next head of the Kuchiki nobles. Do I, Byakuya Kuchiki, have no face? What, don't you think it's too few? Then 20 moves? Ling Yun was a little sleepy. Byakuya Kuchiki remained silent, however, the veins on his forehead were throbbing violently. It's like a human volcano, there is always the possibility of an explosion. Isn't that too little? Or just 30 strokes? Ling Yun had a loose expression on his face, and even pierced his ears. It's enough. Byakuya Kuchiki couldn't take it anymore. Ling Yun's indifference completely angered him. He raised the wooden sword, gritted his teeth, and rushed towards Ling Yun. Ling Tuching was fooled. Chapter 113 Byakuya Kuchiki doubting life. Is this a trick? Looking at Byakuya Kuchiki's distraught look, Ling Yun felt amused. I used the aggressive method for a while, and it was easy for the opponent to take the lead. Ling Tuching is Ling Tuching. If Byakuya Kuchiki wants to become that cold-faced paralysis in the future, he still needs to experience more setbacks. As for now, you have to teach him a lesson. It was Ling Yun's original intention to abuse a child with facial paralysis, but the other party gave him his own head. Teacher Ling Yun. My sword skills are inherited from my grandfather. Even if you are a genius that everyone is looking at, you have no right to despise me face to face. Byakuya Kuchiki shouted angrily. After all, he was still young and energetic, so he naturally couldn't bear Ling Yun's looseness and provocation. Waving the wooden sword in his hand with a paralyzed face, he gritted his teeth at Ling Yun, and his words revealed boundless anger. Too difficult. With this turtle speed, who do you want to hit? Ling Yun shook his head in disappointment. It wasn't that 11 was deliberately provocative, but that Byakuya Kuchiki's speed was like slow motion in his eyes. Ling Yun doesn't need to do anything deliberately, just by using his keen Ryotsu perception, he can easily catch the other party's movements. Want to slash yourself head on? I'm afraid I have to practice another 10,000 years? Damn it. You're such a bully, Byakuya Kuchiki was furious. The boy's unique secondary attributes made him subconsciously believe that he would shoulder the glory of nobility, so he would never allow any failures. Shiny. After an awe-inspiring sound of breaking wind, the wooden sword in Byakuya Kuchiki's hand pointed directly at Ling Yun's chest. As soon as he went out, he aimed at the vital position. Sigh, the young people nowadays are beaten and killed if they disagree with each other. Ling Yun raised the wooden sword in his hand and quickly found the handle. With a wave of his hand, the wooden sword slashed straight out. Even if Ling Yun didn't make a real move, he still slashed out a slash wave of sword energy. The facial paralysis that was originally panic-stricken, after feeling the sword energy in it, his expression changed again and again in an instant. There were a lot of question marks on that slightly immature face, almost in a state of sluggishness. Nima. What about entry level? What about honesty among people? This is too introductory for him. Byakuya Kuchiki realized instantly, he was fooled. It turns out that what Ling Yun thinks of his entry is the same as what he himself thinks of his entry. It's totally two different things, you know now? Ling Yun yawned. I told you earlier, let me give you 30 strokes first. Byakuya Kuchiki has black lines all over his face. But I couldn't find a reason to refute it. Just using a wooden sword and swinging it casually, you can make such a strong slash. Ling Yun's kendo level, it must be too strong, right? This is the most intuitive feeling of Byakuya Kuchiki. At this moment, he will regret everything. But in this world, there is no regret medicine. Just when he was thinking about it, Ling Yun's sword energy slash wave followed closely. Click. No surprises. The wooden sword in Byakuya Kuchiki's hand flew backwards together with his body. After tumbling in the air for several laps, he finally fell to the ground in an awkward position and fell to the ground. You and I. Byakuya Kuchiki ate a mouthful of dirt and couldn't even speak clearly. From being full of self-confidence at the beginning to this downcast look, it took only a few seconds. The two just met. Ling Yun taught him a good lesson. The young master's unique dignity and innate arrogance have suffered unprecedented setbacks. Ling Yun picked up the wooden sword and made it hover around his fingertips, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, the moment I drew the sword just now, I have shown mercy. This little scar is nothing to the future head of Kuchiki, right?" These words of Ling Yun drives Byakuya Kuchiki almost crazy. What does it mean to show mercy? Dare to look down on me from the very beginning. This is too bullying. Byakuya Kuchiki swears that he has lived for so many years and has never been like this. Angry and helpless, even doubting life. Damn it, are you going too far? Byakuya Kuchiki shivered angrily. Little devil, don't forget that in the beginning, you threatened to compete, and I just fulfilled your request. Ling Yun showed a faint smile. The paralyzed expression put him in a good mood. Well. Byakuya Kuchiki was silent for a long time. The urge gradually subsided, and as the emotions calmed down, he regained his sanity. Byakuya Kuchiki raised his head, looked directly at Ling Yun, and said from the bottom of his heart, "Teacher Ling Yun, I hope you don't take what happened just now, and please give me your advice in the future." After repeated weighing, he finally gave in. The strength shown by Ling Yun convinced Byakuya Kuchiki. That's right. Ling Yun waved his hand. If this is the case, we don't need to eat dirt. The corners of Byakuya Kuchiki's eyes twitched. He really has nothing to do with Ling Yun. 063. Okay, I won't make fun of you. What? Tisk tisk tisk. I really didn't expect that the future Kuchiki nobleman will really be a masochist. Ling Yun cast a strange look. What else can he say? Where the hell is this? Although there is no guarantee, Byakuya Kuchiki's strength will improve by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. Byakuya Kuchiki had a melancholy expression on his face. Byakuya Kuchiki looked dazed. After all, she is a teacher by example, and Ling Yun also hopes to fulfill her responsibility. It is not difficult to see that when he practiced in the past, he was inevitably teased by Yoruichi. She, like you, likes to teach me in a joking way. Even the label of masochist has been put on. Byakuya Kuchiki is speechless. Byakuya Kuchiki, I hope that every day in the future, you can put aside your identity and status, and follow me to practice humbly. Ling Yun exhorted with a serious face. Teacher Ling Yun, you and Master Yoruichi have many similarities, Byakuya Kuchiki said suddenly. How to say? Being able to become a teacher with facial paralysis is very delicate in itself. Really? Ling Yun raised his eyebrows. So, you like this style very much? Chapter 114 The Power of Hollow Suddenly Runaway. Next month. Ling Yun started a busy life. During the day, I went to the team building of the 4th Division, and followed Sister Wa to practice kendo. And at sunset, go to the Kuchiki Noble Mansion to guide Byakuya Kuchiki's home training. 2 time periods, different rhythms. Ling Yun is enjoying it, enjoying life leisurely. The southeast location of the Kuchiki Nobles, the courtyard where facial paralysis is practiced. Since this day is the weekly holiday of the 4th team, Ling Yun came here early in the morning. Teacher Ling Yun. When Byakuya Kuchiki met, he greeted respectfully. Since he was tortured by Ling Yun a month ago, he has been completely convinced. Shunpo, white hits, Kido. In addition to Zanpakutō, Ling Yun systematically taught facial paralysis in the 4 major aspects of cutting fists and walking ghosts. Of course, all the skills and moves are just entry level. It's not that Ling Yun is being perfunctory, it's that Byakuya Kuchiki's Ryotsu is simply not up to par. To put it bluntly, that is too good, teacher Ling Yun. Yoruichi is called Flash Goddess. As her younger brother, you shouldn't be bad at Shunpo, right? Byakuya Kuchiki suddenly raised a topic. At this moment, Ling Yun was standing under the shade of a tree, enjoying the sunshine while coughing. Hearing the question of facial paralysis, he lazily raised his eyes. 883, Byakuya Brad, are you trying to find out about me? No, I don't have that awareness. Byakuya Kuchiki shrank his neck, I just happened to be curious. After getting along for a month, he is in awe of Ling Yun from the bottom of his heart. Even if he is favored by Kuchiki Yinling alone, every time he faces Ling Yun, Byakuya Kuchiki is like a younger brother. Sister Yoruichi, you should often use Shunpo to play tricks on you? Ling Yun asked back. That's right, every time we met before, she would use Shunpo to play peekaboo with me, but unfortunately I never won. Byakuya Kuchiki said with a sad face. Tut tut. A game of peekaboo? Yoruichi is really badass. The corners of Ling Yun's mouth turned up slightly. Not to mention Byakuya Kuchiki, I'm afraid the average Shinigami is also playing a game of peekaboo. I guess even Yoruichi's shadow can't reach it. Teacher Ling Yun, how'd I feel? You seem to be gloating. Byakuya Kuchiki was circled. Cough cough. Absolutely not, Byakuya kid, you're just wrong, I can understand your feelings. Ling Yun coughed lightly quickly, and then raised his eyebrows. How about I teach you 2 tricks? What? Byakuya Kuchiki was overjoyed. As a noble heir, Byakuya Kuchiki's mind is naturally not as simple as it appears on the surface. The reason why he deliberately provoked this topic was not accidental. The purpose is for Shunpo, cut the fist and walk away the ghost. The 4 Shinigami fighting techniques, Byakuya Kuchiki is most interested in Shunpo. Compared with the daily sword skills training and the learning of Kido, he hopes to master more Shunpo skills. And now is obviously a great opportunity. As far as Shunpo is concerned, I dare not say it is better than my sister, at least not worse than her. Ling Yun showed a faint smile. No, Byakuya Kuchiki was stunned. If I had known Yoruichi was a flash goddess. Looking at the entire Go Day 13, except for the captain, absolutely no one can compare. Ling Yun is so confident. Byakuya kid, you don't seem to believe it? Ling Yun yawned. That, Byakuya Kuchiki was about to explain. But what happened next left him stunned. There was no movement from Ling Yun either. He just stood still, but within the sight of Byakuya Kuchiki, another, Ling Yun, appeared. This weird scene. Suddenly, Byakuya Kuchiki broke into a cold sweat. What exactly is going on? Byakuya Kuchiki's expression froze, and he subconsciously rubbed his eyes. Yeah. The number of Ling Yun increased again, this time it became 1. Oh my god. Byakuya Kuchiki finally couldn't hold back anymore, he was so shocked that he couldn't help but swear. 3, 4, 5. The number of Ling Yun is still increasing. In the end, there were so many people that they couldn't count, completely surrounded by facial paralysis, BBCJ. Scalp tingling. Byakuya Kuchiki hissed, doubt life again. This facial paralysis can't even speak fluently. When I was in contact with Yoruichi before, although the other party played around with it, it was not so exaggerated. Easily create countless afterimages. What is this operation? Byakuya brat, now you can believe it, my accomplishments in Shunpo. Ling Yun outlined a satisfied arc in his mouth. Byakuya Kuchiki's wonderful expression makes him feel very happy watching. So amazing. Byakuya Kuchiki was amazed. The successive shocks brought a deep impression. Actually, there's no need to be so surprised, it's just a magic trick. Ling Yun explained with a chuckle. Sui Feng had this expression back then, and now it is the same with facial paralysis. He's never happy with the surprised look, teacher Ling Yun. I want to learn too, can you teach me? Byakuya Kuchiki showed an extremely eager expression. It's fine, but, Ling Yun deliberately paused. But what? Byakuya Kuchiki was nervous, and quickly said, Mr. Ling Yun, no matter what the conditions are, you can just ask them. It's done. Ling Yun was secretly delighted, this is what he was waiting for. How about this? Next. Ling Yun mentioned all the requirements at once. In order to learn, Shadow Clone, Byakuya Kuchiki nodded again and again, completely fooled. Of course. It is impossible to learn, without infinite skill points, it is impossible to learn in this life. At best, he can only be fooled. Ling Yun clearly sensed the hollow power that was accidentally generated due to the soul experiment a month ago. Yesterday, he suffered from facial paralysis for a whole day, and after completely winning his trust, Ling Yun returned to the team building contentedly. Unohana Retsu teammate, this evil spirit is amazing. Then next, before Ling Yun finished speaking, his face changed drastically. The team building of the 4th team, the old sword hall. The sun rises. Let's start today's kendo lesson. That would be great, at least it won't bring you unnecessary trouble. Unohana Retsu smiled gracefully. Unohana Retsu took out Zanpakutō from her girdle and held it in her hand. Unexpectedly rioted at this time. A strong blood-like evil spirit burst out from her body, rolling towards every corner of the sword hall. Ling Yun, Kuchiki nobles, how is the matter going? Unohana Retsu asked proactively. It's going well there. Byakuya Kuchiki is not as proud as the rumors say. Ling Yun responded lightly. She cares for Ling Yun just like she treats her own son, and she cares about every detail. That is because, the next day, started the practice of Yachinryu Kendo again. Chapter 115 Ling Yun's high-speed regeneration. Woo! Ling Yun's complexion changed drastically. He could clearly feel that, perhaps affected by the evil spirit, the hollow power hidden in his body suddenly rioted. How is this going? Ling Yun tried to do something, but there was nothing she could do. The magnitude of the Ryotsu riots became more and more violent. Even the 8,000 yuan Kendo's evil spirit is clearly at a disadvantage compared to this hollow power. One can imagine. How violent is Hollow's power? Ling Yun, what's wrong with you? Unohana Retsu, who was standing opposite, sensed it immediately. Even the entire Gode 13, one of the most powerful Shinigami. Shrouded in the violent hollow fluctuations, Sister Wa still felt cold all over. It feels like falling into an ice cave, sudden misfortune. She immediately frowned. Captain Unohana Retsu. I'm fine. Ling Yun forced out a word with a painful expression. But anyone can clearly hear that his state has become fluctuating. The gentle Ryotsu unique to Shinigami was gone at this moment, but Shu's violent aura became more and more obvious. No matter how partial Wa is, I also realized that something big happened to Ling Yun. Ling Yun. What happened? Unohana Retsu's mood, along with Ling Yun's state, has rarely fluctuated. She could clearly feel that Ling Yun's physical condition gradually became strange. Even for a moment, Unohana Retsu has a strong illusion. As if standing in front of me is not a Shinigami but a berserk Manos Grande. That's right, it's Manos Grande, and Manos Grande beyond Jillian, even Vasto Lord. Sister Wa showed a dignified expression. The murderous aura that was usually concealed, burst out naturally. It's not that Sister Wa deliberately wanted to reveal it, but the oppression given by Hollow made her feel a deadly threat. This is an instinctive defensive move. In the past month, what happened to Ling Yun? At this moment, Sister Hua's mind is full of doubts and incomprehensions. She desperately wants to know the truth, but she doesn't have this opportunity now. That is because, just when Sister Hua was distracted, Ling Yun changed again. Yi dazzling white light echoed from his body like a revived soul. The sudden change made Sister Hua's heart sink even more. The atmosphere immediately dropped to freezing point. This is the legendary Hollow. Unohana Retsu's expression changed dramatically. She could clearly sense that there was a terrifying power hidden in all the white light. Violent, dark, bloody. Manos Grande's unique negative emotions were brought out vividly at this moment, and the evil spirit was overshadowed by it. Obviously the situation is completely out of control. There must be a way to revive you. Unohana Retsu firmly grasped Zanpakutō Shizuku. There was a complex expression on her beautiful face. Sister Wa is not an indecisive person. No matter how special her feelings for Ling Yun are, she will not stand by and do nothing. Although this is her first time, contact with, Hollow, related things. Although Sister Wa was shocked, she remained calm in the face of danger. After all, more than 2,000 years ago, she was the entire Soul Society, an unprecedented villain. Even facing Vasto Lord, the legendary Manos Grande. Sister Wa can still be like Shisui, at the same time. All white light has been completely materialized. On Ling Yun's face appeared again, the previous red and black tones, and a death card mask. He's completely gone berserk. Roar. Unlike the first Hollow experiment. This time, Ling Yun lost control of his emotions, and the only trace of reason left disappeared without a trace. At this time, he is no longer a Shinigami, but has completely degenerated into a Manos Grande. Perhaps, monster, is more appropriate to describe it. Golem. No matter how calm Sister Wa was in her heart, she still couldn't help swallowing when she saw the death card mask. The entire white bone mask is generally red and black in color, with some mysterious death carvings on it. Its appearance is like the evil and darkness of Ultimate in the Endless Abyss. It's unbelievable. Just observing for a while, Unohana Retsu was genuinely amazed. In the distant past, she has fought against Manos Grande many times, including Vasto Lord, of course. Ask for flowers. D.A. Never before has any Manos Grande been able to bring her such an intuitive feeling in a face-to-face situation. Sister Wa didn't even dare to guess how powerful the Shu in Ling Yun's body was. Ejukas? Vasto Lord? Do not? Seems to go beyond those two levels? And Unohana Retsu even thinks, this idea is too crazy. Just then, Hollow Ling Yun launched a sudden onslaught. Brush, without warning. After leaving an afterimage in place, it appeared in front of Sister Wa as if teleported. Zanpakutō Yama in your hand, chop it down in the most brutal way. Is this ringing? Unohana Retsu's pupils contracted suddenly. She recognized Meino's Grande's unique skills at a glance. As we all know, Ring and Shunpo, although generally the same. But in reality, there are some nuances. Shunpo is more like moving at high speed, and ringing, it is like a space jumping. If it erupts instantly in a short period of time. Obviously, the ring is better. That's why Unohana Retsu is shocked. There was a sound of metal clashing. Is it unscathed? Scimitar slash. Zanpakutō Yanmo, Zanpakutō Shizuku Kof, launched the ultimate competition. The power of high-speed regeneration begs. The unconscious hollow Ling Yun was not only forced back by the front, but also left an obvious trace of a ravine on the floor of the sword hall. This is just the prelude to the fight. She observed a small detail, that is, hollow Ling Yun's body did not have any sword sheath scars, and all the wounds healed instantly. Shine, brush, in the end it was Unohana Retsu who came out on top. The blue and red Ryotsu, with Zanpakuto's swing, collided violently in the sword hall. The floor shook violently like a tide, even with the barrier of murderous stones. The sword hall was crumbling and might collapse at any time. Unohana Retsu raised his sword and counterattacked neatly. The blade was like a crescent moon, carrying fierce sword energy, and slammed heavily towards Zanpakutō Yanmo. Ryotsu collided, and the sword light flickered. Unohana Retsu frowned. Chapter 116 Super Black Sero. Unscathed. How tricky. Unohana Retsu frowned. She suddenly discovered that there was no scar on Ling Yun's body, and she seemed to be immune to the attack of sword energy. And this small detail immediately made Sister Wa feel a little nervous. She knew it right away. This is the power of high-speed regeneration. High-speed regeneration, a unique skill of Wei, it can make the wounds heal quickly in a short time. The vast majority of ghosts have mastered this ability. Strictly speaking, it is very common. However, in the original plot, many Meino's Grande will give up high-speed regeneration in order to gain more powerful power when they become a Rancor. Even the later Espada, only Neutra, Ulquiorra, etc. also have the force zone of high-speed regeneration. You know, they are all Rancorized Meino's Grande, and they possess powerful destructive power. 250. But now, Ling Yun showed exactly the same characteristics just in the state of unconscious runaway. This is the scariest place. Ling Yun. How could you degenerate into Meino's Grande? Unohana Retsu looked serious. Although she herself refused to believe it, everything that happened before her eyes showed that Ling Yun's soul was decaying step by step. Shinigami and imaginary. It seems to be opposite to each other, but there is only one step between the two. One side is heaven, the other side is hell. One thought. Roar. Facing Unohana Retsu's question, hollow Ling Yun responded. In the deafening roar, there is a piercing sonic boom, as if it is about to tear the eardrum. After being forced back from the front just now, hollow Ling Yun came out again. The Zanpakutō Yama in its hand exudes a dark black light, as if it is a trial of fate. Swipe swipe. Yanmo swung unruly, one after another sword energy slash wave, containing different attributes, all locked on Unohana Retsu. Even in an unconscious state, hollow Ling Yun still displayed Yanmo's most powerful characteristics. Multi-attribute Ryotsu. Now add Ryotsu of Meino's Grande. The power of the slash instantly soared. Just relying on the most primitive fighting instinct, you have such a powerful combat power. Ling Yun. If you wake up, I'm afraid even you will be shocked. Unohana Retsu muttered to herself in a low voice. As Ling Yun's teacher, she knows Ling Yun's strength from the bottom up. Although he is full of energy, Ling Yun has only been exposed to Yachinryu Kendo for just over a month. However, his attainments in Kendo have surpassed most of the Shinigami. Even the ordinary Shinigami captain may not be able to match Ling Yun. But, this is the premise that Ling Yun is still awake and has a talent bonus. Enter the hollow rampage state. Ling Yun's fighting style has changed, but his combat power is still strong. It's just unbelievable. 8,000 streams of swordsmanship, meteor slash. Just at the moment when those sword energy slash waves are about to hit the body. Unohana Retsu swung Zanpakutō calmly, and slashed with a streamer with his backhand. Like a shooting star, the bright aurora burst out with the ultimate light, dispelling all the darkness in an instant. Meteors shine, and sword energy ripples. 8,000 streams of swordsmanship in Yanmo's slash formed a fierce confrontation in an instant. The glow lasts for a while and then ends. Sister Hua's strength lies there. Hollow's strength is certainly fierce, but after all, it is in an unconscious state, and it is still suppressed after all. Prickly. The sound of tearing kept ringing. Invaded by the sword energy, hollow Ling Yun's skin and flesh were broken, and he instantly turned into a bloodman. But what happened next was a terrifying scene. Shit. It just got worse. Sister Hua's frown deepened. Facing her fearful gaze, the scars on hollow Ling Yun's body healed instantly under the white light. The occurrence of this scene is like a horror movie, bringing fear that hits the soul directly. Impossible. Even if it is high-speed regeneration, it is impossible to heal instantly, could it be? Unohana Retsu suddenly remembered that the Kaido mastered by Ling Yun was also different from others. Because of the full-level God healing, even if it enters the hollow state. High-speed regeneration is also amazing. Roar, after all the wounds on his body healed, hollow Ling Yun roared again. He is like a perpetual motion machine with inexhaustible vitality and will never fall down. Savage, violent, dark. The aura on hollow Ling Yun reveals boundless darkness, as if bringing a terrifying cloud. It's terrible. Even as a first-generation Kenpachi, Sister Wa still couldn't help being moved when she looked at Ling Yun. Under the red and black death-carved mask, in the vertical pupils gleaming red, there is an incoherent killing intent. Hollow Ling Yun is like a terrifying killing machine. Makes the scalp tingle, pado, ring and turn. Sister Wa was only distracted for a moment, and hollow Ling Yun launched an offensive again. Ultimate's ring spin. Even blocked Unohana Retsu's nerve perception. Brush Zanpakutō Yan Mo waved, the white light flickered sharply, and Ling Yun's form changed again. Not just the carved masks of death. Ling Yun's body and limbs, and every inch of skin on his body, were covered with white bone armor. He turned into a monster completely, 8,000 streams of swordsmanship, blood-fiend streams of light slash. This time, Sister Wa didn't hesitate anymore. She swung Zanpakutō with all her strength, and the evil spirit surrounding her body was all condensed into substance in an instant, turning into a dazzling scarlet rainbow. The evil spirit swept across, and the sword energy rippled. Accurately hit hollow Ling Yun's body. The tide has turned again. Roar the monster like hollow Ling Yun let out an ear-shattering roar, and flew backwards like a cannonball. Bearing Sister Hua's full blow head-on, no matter how violent Hollow's strength is, he was defeated in an instant after all. 5.3 Kacha Kacha. The ear-piercing cracking sound sounded continuously. The bone armor on hollow Ling Yun's body was like a shattered mirror, falling down in large pieces. 2. Just when everything is about to repeat itself. Hollow Ling Yun didn't fall down, but burst out with an even more brutal force. Call out the front end of one of the fingertips, the crimson Ryotsu was highly compressed, and eventually evolved into dark black. This is. Unohana Retsu's eyes widened suddenly. Her eyes reflected the continuously condensed black flash. A feeling of heart palpitations arises spontaneously. It is obvious. The super black Sero that appeared in front of her eyes brought her an unprecedented deadly threat. Chapter 117 Bankai, Solve It All. At hollow Ling Yun's fingertips, black rays of light continuously condensed, turning into incomparably powerful flashes of light. Even if separated by a certain distance, even with the barrier of the murderous stone, Unohana Retsu still felt palpitations. The sudden appearance of super black Sero makes the situation even more terrifying. If this continues, even if there are murderous stones, this sword hall may not be able to survive. Unohana Retsu's first reaction was not to worry about her own safety, but to care about the condition of the sword hall. That is because, once the sword hall collapses, the battle will be exposed and things will get worse. Hollow went berserk. Once this matter gets out, no matter what identity Ling Yun has, he will still receive the most severe sentence. That is to be regarded as virtual and executed. Out of partiality and love for Ling Yun, Unohana Retsu didn't want anything to happen to him. Therefore, the first thing she considers is not her own safety, but also how to calm down this turmoil. Sister Wa is very clear in her heart. She must stop immediately, hollow Ling Yun will continue to riot. At the same time, Super Black 11 Sero condensed. Accompanied by the surge of black light, a breath of death and silence gradually spread to the surroundings. Even more astonishing. The space around hollow Ling Yun was affected by this extinction wave, and there was an obvious visual distortion. Sister Wa suddenly felt the hairs all over her body stand on end. She didn't expect the matter to be so serious. In that case, it seems that I can't continue to show mercy. After calmly weighing for a moment, a murderous intent appeared on Unohana Retsu's beautiful face. She coughed the Zanpakutō Shizuku and held it horizontally in front of her body. The next moment, Bankai, it's all over, liberation language floated from the mouth. And Sister Hua's whole body changed suddenly. The powerful Ryotsu beyond the level of ordinary captains surged out like a tidal wave. The black Shiba outfit, with its white feathers, swayed violently in an exaggerated range under the strong wind. The scimitar Shizuku cough that was originally held in his hand has changed into a bewitching sword. Gulu gulu. A large number of blood-colored bubbles kept making thumping noises. And at this moment, the majestic Ryotsu on Sister Hua's body turned into a substantial pool of blood, accompanied by a pungent bloody smell. The entire sword hall suddenly turned into a pool of blood. Roar feeling Bankai's exhausted power, hollow Ling Yun roared again. Under the red and black death-carved mask, the red vertical pupils flickered violently, accompanied by obvious fear. Even if he lost his mind, the innate instinct still made hollow Ling Yun feel fear in his soul. Those surging black lights also became dim because of this. The hollow power is finally suppressed, Ling Yun. I believe that you will not fall easily, nor will you die easily, so. As Unohana Retsu spoke, her body leaned forward slightly. The whole person seemed to have turned into a smear of blood, sprinting forward at an extremely fast speed. Swipe swipe. When the blood shadow flickered, the blood blade slashed head-on. Scimitar slash. When these familiar words came out of his mouth. A round of blood moon like sword energy slash wave, with pungent blood in it, roared and pierced forward. Bloody and brutal, precise and elegant, a deadly blood blade. It is worth mentioning that after entering the Bankai state, Sister Hua's power has sublimated. Whether it is its own strength or its slashing power. Everything is like a blood flower that is just about to bloom, and it will bloom inadvertently. Until all is exhausted. At the same time, Super Black Sero is finally released. The black light turned into a terrifying torrent, carrying the power to destroy everything, and swept towards the surroundings in an extremely violent manner. Unohana Retsu's eyes flickered. Although Black Sero is amazingly powerful, but after releasing Bankai's power, Sister Hua's power is also unprecedentedly powerful. Boom. After the deafening bang, the sea of blood and the Black Sero collided head-on. Red and black rays of light occupy more than half of the space. Even with the murderous stone blocking them, these two powerful forces almost destroyed the entire sword hall. After a long time, the red and black light dissipated. The battle is finally settled. Holes of different sizes appeared on the floor of the entire sword hall, and the interior became desolate. Even the murderous stone barrier was damaged in a large area due to the impact. What's even more shocking is, the scene outside the sword hall was completely destroyed like a doomsday disaster. Except for the sword hall, all other areas collapsed and turned into a basin out of thin air. The battle between Sister Hua and the unreal Ling Yun actually changed the entire landscape structure. Simply unbelievable. Inside the sword hall, with the end of this battle, peace was restored here again. Captain Unohana Retsu. Ling Yun's voice suddenly sounded. In the dense fog, Ling Yun, wearing a deadly costume, gradually walked out. Although he still wore a death-carved mask on his face, the violent aura of Manos Grande had disappeared without a trace. Obviously Ling Yun regained his sanity. Ling Yun. You've finally woken up. I really didn't see the wrong person. The figure of Unohana Retsu also emerged later. Under the bombardment of Sero, the White Captain's Haori on Wahi's body was slightly damaged. 740's original graceful and luxurious image has become a little embarrassed because of this. And all this. All because of Ling Yun's sudden hollow. Captain Unohana Retsu, you've become like this. Ling Yun observed for a while, and his expression immediately became complicated. Not only did he know Sister Hua's strength long ago, but he also admired it from the bottom of his heart. Without any exaggeration, Sister Hua, who is going all out, is absolutely among the top in her practical experience. But even so, after this battle, Sister Hua still looked embarrassed. One can imagine. How terrifying is Hollow's power. Ling Yun. Sister Hua was silent for a long time, and she showed a graceful smile. You don't have to worry about what happened today. I will treat it as a secret that the two of us know. It was completely beyond Ling Yun's expectations. Instead of blaming, Unohana Retsu offered to help hide the secret. She sincerely thinks of Ling Yun, Captain Unohana Retsu, about Hollow. Actually, Ling Yun was about to explain. But, Ling Yun, I don't want to know the specific reason, so you don't have to explain it deliberately. Sister Hua interrupted him directly. Go back and take a good rest. I believe you can handle this matter well. Sister Hua smiled gracefully again, and in this smile, there are obviously high hopes. Chapter 118. A new skill learned by accident the next day. Stealthy maneuvers, manage teams. Urahara Kazuki's personal bedroom. Third seat. Urahara, your soul experiment is too bad. I almost got into a big disaster. Ling Yun's voice of reproach came from inside the room. Like a machine gun, he kept complaining. Ling Yun recounted what happened yesterday from the beginning to the end, and the store manager was shocked. No way? The void in your body forced out Captain Unohana Retsu's Bankai and injured her? The store manager opened his mouth wide in surprise, and his jaw almost dislocated. Although he is not a time traveler, his understanding of the characters in the plot is not as thorough as Ling Yun. But, Urahara Kazuki has a super IQ, and the secret deeds he knows far surpass ordinary people. Therefore, the store manager also knows about Sister Hua's strength. That's why he was so shocked when he heard the news. Tell me, %. Z% 1% it. How should we deal with this matter? Can't we suddenly go berserk every time? Ling Yun scratched his hair. Regarding the issue of Hollow, Ling Yun is really at a loss. He certainly welcomes the power of Hollow, but the premise is to master Hollow. But now, there is nothing left in the horoscope, and he will go berserk at any time. Who is still happy? This. Urahara Kazuki rubbed his chin, frowning in thought. Because the incident happened too abruptly and it was an unprecedented precedent, he couldn't think of a countermeasure in a short time. How to control Hollow? The only thing the store manager can think of is to solve the void in the body. But in this way, Ling Yun's soul will definitely suffer trauma. After all, Shu was born because of an accidental soul experiment that happened over a month ago. By infusing a large amount of virtual souls, it causes changes in the soul. This leads to hollow. Actually, there are ways, but for you now, the risk you need to take is too great. Urahara Kazuki took a deep breath. Urahara 3 seats, I probably guessed what you're thinking. Ling Yun had a happy expression. Really? You think it's feasible too? Urahara Kazuki raised his voice and explained word by word, at present, the void in your body should be suppressed by the power of Shinigami, so it didn't fully erupt. If you throw away all the restraints and completely release this power, your soul will be completely eroded. Urahara Kazuki paused for a moment. From his expression, it is not difficult to judge how dangerous this situation is. Urahara Sanshi, your plan is to let me completely defeat the void in my body in the soul space? Ling Yun actually guessed it a long time ago. In the original plot, when the masked army came into contact with Ichigo, it was trained in this way. You know, there are 3 ways to have emptiness in the body. First, with the help of Hogyoku's power, break the boundary between Shinigami and Hollow to gain the power of Hollow. Secondly, through special forbidden technique and experimentation, which is also the approach of Ling Yun Hollow. The third method is to cut off the lock of cause and effect, which is also Ichigo's Hollow method in the original book. Anyway, the ultimate goal of these 3 paths is to enter the special Hollow state, and then defeat the void in the soul space. Urahara Kazuki is talking about this method. Ling Yun, if you guessed correctly, you and Hollow in the soul space should have exactly the same power as you. Urahara Kazuki reminded with a solemn expression. Of course I know that. Ling Yun's mood fluctuated a little. If you really do this, you must prepare for the worst. If everything goes well, it would be great, but if the car eventually overturns, let alone control Hollow, the soul will also be replaced. At that time, Ling Yun is no longer Ling Yun, and will completely degenerate into a monster that devours people. What should be done? Ling Yun glanced down at his own Zanpakutō Yanmo. For now, Yanmo's Shikai still has a lot of room for improvement. Ling Yun's own ability is also gradually growing. It is undoubtedly a stupid move to bite the bullet and try, and the hope of success is extremely slim. Obviously giving up temporarily is a wise decision. Ling Yun, do you want to stop observing for a while? While Ling Yun was weighing the pros and cons, Urahara Kazuki made a suggestion. Do you have a better way? No idea at the moment? But as long as the time is long enough, I can find more effective methods through soul experiments, Urahara Kazuki said with a firm taste. Then let's decide for now. Ling Yun breathed a sigh of relief. He certainly believed that, with Urahara Kazuki's mind, a solution would be found sooner or later. After all, Hogyoku was born by accident, because of many soul experiments. Don't worry, I still have a lot of virtual soul material in my laboratory, enough to support a lot of repeated experiments. Urahara Kazuki smiled confidently. Like pranks, he has always been an optimist. No matter how serious the situation is, Urahara Kazuki can always maintain a calm state of mind. This is also one of his greatest strengths. By the way, I suddenly remembered that during Hollow's runaway yesterday, a black Sero seemed to condense. Ling Yun's eyes suddenly lit up. Black Sero? Urahara Kazuki frowned. He had heard about it beforehand and wrote about Sero's deeds. In my impression, Sero is generally red, although there are other shades, but that is also a very rare phenomenon. But now this black Sero, what's going on? You may not believe it, but I seem to be able to use Sero. Ling Yun's words. The store manager almost choked on his saliva. No way? Are you joking? Urahara Kazuki strongly doubted. Ling Yun, unless you enter the hollow state, it's nonsense. Ling Yun didn't respond, but raised her finger. Meeting Urahara Kazuki's gaze, he began to try to gather Ryotsu. Call out. In just a few breaths, it turned into a black flash. This weird scene. At this moment, Urahara Kazuki still feels that his head is not enough. Intuition told him. His eyes also reflected the constantly flickering black light. This is too pervert, completely subverted his cognition. Even if you have been well informed and learned a lot of secrets. Ling Yun is ready to do something, the appearance of Black Sero. No way. He could clearly sense that the black light Ryotsu was highly compressed and quickly condensed at the fingertips. Urahara Kazuki swallowed and trembled. The dark light unique to Yanmo, Li Wangjiao, burst out instantly with Ryotsu. The atmosphere suddenly became deadly silent. What are you going to do? Third seat Urahara, this underground laboratory should have established a boundary result, right? Ling Yun stared ahead. Urahara Kazuki's eyes widened in astonishment. Chapter 119 Unlimited Sero Reprise. Soon after, black light surged and thick fog filled the air. The entire underground laboratory was in a mess, with broken experimental equipment everywhere. That's right, as Urahara Kazuki expected, Ling Yun did something after all. The explosion of the Black Sero caused the entire laboratory to suffer a large-scale impact. Even after all these years, Urahara Kazuki has already set up a solid multi-block enchantment. Yeah. In front of the berserk Black Sero, everything is as fragile as a piece of paper. All have the current scene. If it wasn't for Ling Yun restraining Ryotsu, with the strength of Black Sero, I'm afraid this place would be blown up. Call. Urahara Kazuki stepped out of the thick fog with a sigh of relief. After observing for a while, he found that most of the broken experimental instruments were not core technology and would not affect the sole experiment. Fortunately, it was this result, otherwise he would have cried. Ling Yun, please, don't release Sero casually in the future. Urahara Kazuki scratched the back of his head with a distressed expression. The originally soft yellow hair was scratched into a chicken coop by him, which looked extraordinarily funny. At the same time, just when the store manager was frowning, Ling Yun quietly shifted her energy to another matter. Although he felt apologetic in his heart, what he cared most about 847 was the skill upgrade. Joke. A Shinigami of the Soul Society, it has mastered the special Black Sero. This is an appalling story. Without even thinking about it, you can guess how awesome the upgraded Sero will be. Ling Yun quickly withdrew his thoughts and then opened the System Properties panel. He immediately activated his skills. Ding, congratulations host, the Sero level has been raised to LV2. Congratulations host, the Sero level has been raised to LV3. Congratulations host, the Sero level has been raised to LV4. Congratulations host, the Sero level has been upgraded to LV99. The system notification sound, like a text message bombardment, kept ringing in my ears. Taking advantage of this short gap, Ling Yun reached the full level of the skill in one breath. The plus sign behind Sero disappeared, and there was an extra max sign. Ding, congratulations to host, you got extra talents, unlimited Sero replays. As has happened before, after upgrading Sero to full level, additional talents will also be awakened. Infinite Sero reprise. Hearing this, BBCH name, Ling Yun was overjoyed. It's almost a no-brainer that the so-called Infinite Sero ensemble must be heaven-defying. Ling Yun quickly calmed down and looked at the talent description introduction. Open black lens bracket Infinite Sero ensemble close black lens bracket, talent effect. When releasing Sero, there is a chance to release it repeatedly, and the number of releases is unlimited. And it can absorb other Sero, which has the additional effect of power superposition. F*K. This talent is a bit outrageously strong. Ling Yun's eyes burst into light. There is a chance to release it repeatedly, even if it is performed without singing, and it can also absorb other Sero. Unlimited Sero, Sero reprise, isn't this just? In the original plot, the first Espada Stark and the former third Espada Nilu, they have their own talents? Apart from a shit, Ling Yun couldn't think of other words to express his mood at the moment. This plugin is also very cool. More than a month ago, it was indeed a wise decision to agree to the experiment invitation from the store manager. After awakening the Infinite Sero ensemble talent, if you fight Manos Grande again, you can beat them with Sero alone. Ling Yun muttered inwardly with satisfaction. He even started dreaming about it. Of course. With the upgrading of skills and the awakening of talents, the attribute panel has undergone significant changes. Name. Shihouin Ling Yun status, 3rd seed of the 4th team. Ryatsu. 4250, plus 10, Shunpo. 4285, plus 10, slash. 4056, plus 10. 4052, plus 10, Void. Black Sero, max, Hado. Low order Hado, max, middle order Hado, max, some high order Hado. Bakudo. Low Bakudo, max, middle Bakudo, max, some high Bakudo. Special skills. Shiba family secret technique, max, double bone boxing technique, max, Kaido, max. Talents. 7 attributes Affinity, Ryatsu amplification, Hado amplification, Strange power bash, Divine healing, Infinite Sero ensemble. Skill points. At #% asterisk at hash it is worth mentioning that. Perhaps because of Hollow, there is an extra column of Hollow in the property panel. The attributes look much more comfortable. It's only one step away from the standard line of 5000, and then you can upgrade your skills again. Ling Yun instantly became full of energy. After the value of each attribute reaches the 5000 standard, it means that it has reached the level above the vice captain. There is also an opportunity to upgrade skills, at that time. Shunpo, / white hits. These 3 aspects will transform again. Ling Yun. Just as Ling Yun was meditating, Urahara Kazuki's voice sounded. He was awakened immediately. Urahara 3 seats, let's clean up the mess together, and then go to the hot spring. Ling Yun's mood became brighter. It may take less than half a year, as long as he survives this period of time, he will become even stronger. It's just a matter of time. Okay, the experimental equipment has been destroyed, and I still want to invite you to take a bath in the hot spring. I'm taking advantage of my feelings? Urahara Kazuki smiled helplessly. This time he was tricked by Ling Yun. Even with the original draft paper, it would take a lot of time to recreate them all. But when the store manager thought about it, Ling Yun wouldn't have surprised Hollow if he hadn't invited him back then, so he had to carry this pot with tears. Pit yourself. This operation show is upside down. Time flies. 3 months passed in a blink of an eye. During these 3 months, nothing happened and everything went smoothly. The void in Ling Yun's body did not fluctuate again. His only worry was put aside for the time being. Besides, after more than 3 months of practice, Ling Yun's various attribute values have successfully broken through the 5000 standard line. Naturally, he reached the full level of Shunpo and other skills in one go. Shunpo, max, slash, max, white hits, max. Not only has his overall strength improved by leaps and bounds, but he has also reached a level of mastery in Yachiryu Kendo, officially stepping into the realm of a sword master. Hard to make a comparison. Ling Yun's current combat strength, even an ordinary Shinigami captain, cannot be compared with him. You know, Ling Yun has cultivated to this level in less than a year. The title of Mao's first genius, well deserved. Chapter 120. The next day, the 4th Division Aisle, Ling Yun 3 seats. Ling Yun 3 seats. Ling Yun 3 seats. When Ling Yun was walking in the aisle, the passers-by of Team 4 greeted him one after another. Unknowingly, Ling Yun's position in the 4th team even surpassed Katetsu Izan, second only to Captain Unohana Retsu. Even if the position of the 4th team is mainly responsible for medical treatment and logistics, these two most inconspicuous parts. But no one has ever dared to question Ling Yun's strength. The title, Gotei 13 First Genius, says it all the way down the aisle. Ling Yun soon arrived at the team office, captain's office. Captain Unohana, Vice Captain Brave. As soon as Ling Yun entered the team office, he saw two familiar figures. Sister Wa, as always, sat cross-legged in front of the wooden table, skillfully playing with the tea set. As for Katetsu Izan, holding a stack of documents in his hand, his expression was vaguely anxious. Did something happen? Ling Yun gave a light snort. After nearly a year of contact, he has enough understanding of Katetsu Izan. Ling Yun seldom sees Katetsu Izan, who is introverted, have this uneasy expression. Ling Yun, sit down. After making a pot of hot tea, Sister Wa showed a graceful smile. Captain Unohana Retsu, something urgent has happened, right? Ling Yun sat with his knees crossed. After saying this, he glanced at the thick stack of documents from the corner of his eye. Yongyan, bring up the notification document. Unohana Retsu nodded. Captain, this is the latest notice from the 1st team. Katetsu Izan divided the documents into two and handed them to Ling Yun and Sister Wa respectively. No way? The 10th squad has encountered a major accident? After reading the document in detail, Ling Yun rarely showed a shocked expression. Gotei 10th Division, also known as Patrol Guard. Its main duty is to be in charge of Jinglinting, Rukongai, and security patrols in this world. The duties of the 10th Squad and the Battle Squad complement each other, maintaining the stability of the Soul Society for thousands of years. Ling Yun vaguely remembers that in the plot of the original novel, at this time, the 10th Squad seems to have been wiped out. Could it be? Is this the accident now? North Rukongai, Block 76, Manos Grande Intrusion Incident. The 10th Squad that went to support was attacked by the Manos Grande group. A large number of squadron officers were killed and injured, and even the captain was seriously injured. Sister Wa, who has always been elegant, also frowned. The content of the notification document, the one thing that concerned her the most was the serious injury of the captain of the 10th team. You know, any captain-level Shinigami has powerful combat power. Even when encountering an ordinary Jillian, he can escape unscathed. It is definitely not something that an ordinary Manos Grande can do to bring the Juban team to the brink of extinction. Unohana Retsu suddenly thought of a possibility. Ejukas, Vasto Lord, Sister Wa murmured. In her cognition, only the Manos Grande of these two life levels can seriously injure the captain-level Shinigami. But what makes Sister Wa feel puzzled is that this level of Manos Grande is very rare even in Hueco Mundo, let alone suddenly appearing in Soul Society. What is the root cause? Captain Unohana Retsu, the commander-in-chief, means that our 4th team should immediately go to Rukongai for rescue. Katetsu Izan said hurriedly. I understand. Knowing the seriousness of the matter, Sister Hua's expression became solemn. She was silent for a moment, then looked at Ling Yun. Ling Yun, you and Yongyan, together with the other team members, set off for Rukongai North immediately. Should I lead the team? Ling Yun was surprised again. To be reasonable, this is the first time he has performed a mission in a real sense after joining the 4th team. It would be a lie to say I didn't feel it. What's more, this time is an urgent task, which concerns the safety of the entire promotion team. Ling Yun will inevitably be a little nervous. Ling Yun, the current situation is urgent, and you are undoubtedly the most suitable candidate. Unohana Retsu cast a trusting look at Ling Yun. Ling Yun's divine healing. Although I only saw it once, after such a long time, Sister Wa still remembers it fresh. Large-scale non-chanting healing. She knew very well that she couldn't do such a thing. Ling Yun is even more suitable than herself to carry out this emergency rescue mission. I understand. Ling Yun was no longer pretentious, and took the order confidently. Captain Unohana Retsu, with the assistance of Vice Captain Yuyan, I will definitely complete the task successfully. Ask for flowers. Go, set off immediately, there is no time to delay. Unohana Retsu nodded. North Rukongai, Block 76. As Ling Yun walked towards the outside of the house, two faces appeared in his mind at the same time. That's right. It was the two characters in the plot that he met by accident when he was wandering in Rukongai more than a year ago. Madarei Mikaku. Ayasagawa Yumichika. Although it has been more than a year, the scene where the three of them fought side by side and went to the Zaraki area together is still vivid in my mind today. It was because of that encounter that Ling Yun formed a friendship with them. Unexpectedly, this 10th Division casualty accident happened on the ground. Ling Yun immediately thought of bald heads and ladyboys. 0. Ling Yun, third seat. How'd I feel? You don't seem to be nervous at all, Katetsu Izan said softly. The 10th squad was almost wiped out. Such a major accident, since the news came back, has caused panic. The entire jingling court was undercurrents surging, shrouded in a depressive atmosphere. But after saying this, Katetsu Izan turned his back to Ling Yun, and took a peek at Ling Yun from the corner of his eye. Remember? Facing Katetsu Isan's questioning, Ling Yun couldn't help but smile. Vice Captain Yuyin, you look so cute when you're serious. What? Katetsu Izan almost choked on his saliva. Now there's a Manos Grande invasion. If there are outsiders present, it can be seen at a glance. Just kidding, but then again, suddenly molested by Ling Yun. At this moment, you still have the mood to think about these things. She seems to be stealing Lawan, God TM remembers. North Rukongai is the most chaotic place in the whole of Rukongai. I have been there before, so it is inevitable that I miss it. Ling Yun replied with a smile. It's totally two different channels, although the tone of the mouth is reproachful. Katetsu Izan was taken aback for a moment, then turned his head shyly. Red glows appeared on both sides of his cheeks. Revisiting old places, emergency rescue. This is too outrageous for God. Sometimes I really don't know what is in the heads of you geniuses. Katetsu Izan looked at Ling Yun with strange eyes. Chapter 121. The strongest genius doctor in history. Time flies. A day passed in a blink of an eye. Ling Yun and Katetsu Izan, after receiving the urgent task, organized the personnel immediately. They set off from Jinglingding with the soldiers of the 4th Division and rushed to North Rukongai. Due to the seriousness of the situation, the rescue force accelerated the speed and shortened the journey that would have taken several days to one day. Real quick rescue. Ling Yun, we will arrive at our destination soon, and Block 76 is ahead. Katetsu Izan stood at the front of the line, pointing to go. It's still a familiar sight. Looking around, Ling Yun couldn't help feeling emotional. Looking around, there are destroyed houses everywhere, and the whole street is dilapidated. Compared with more than a year ago, the popularity here has become more sluggish, and there are hardly any people. In fact, for such a situation, Ling Yun has long been mentally prepared to 360. After all, I have been to Zaraki area before, and I have seen the harsh environment, not to mention the invasion of Manos Grande here. Of course. Katetsu Izan on the side is in a completely different mood. Since she was promoted to adjutant, she seldom left Jingling Court, let alone the blocks with lower numbers. The desolation and defeat of Block 76 will naturally bring a strong visual impact. Katetsu Izan quickly took a deep breath, and then managed to calm down. However, Ling Yun soon noticed her emotional changes. The corners of Ling Yun's mouth turned up slightly, and he smiled at her. Vice Captain Yongyan, if you don't feel used to it, why don't you just stay here and wait, lest you see more bloody scenes later? Ling Yun, I'm the vice captain of the 4th team. No matter how harsh the environment is, I won't be able to back down easily. Katetsu Izan was clearly fooled. Facing Ling Yun's aggressive approach, she immediately became a little anxious. Vice Captain Yongyan, I just like your serious look. Ling Yun raised his eyebrows suggestively. What? Katetsu Izan shuddered all over, she subconsciously froze. What do you like? This is a sudden confession. Katetsu Isan's two small hands suddenly had no place to rest. Under the short light purple hair is a red face, like a ripe apple. Katetsu Isan's head is almost smoking because of his shyness. Just then, there was a sound of footsteps head-on, and the ambiguous atmosphere dissipated immediately. Vice Captain Yang Yin, 3rd seat Ling Yun, great, finally meeting you too. A familiar voice, with a relaxed tone, reached the ears of the two. With short silver-white hair and a bushy mustache, he has the elegant demeanor of a gentleman. The one who came to meet him had met once before. The deputy captain of the 1st team, the adjutant of the captain. Sparrow Chojiro. Not long after the 10th Division suffered heavy losses, the captain got the news. Ever since, before the rescue mission was issued, Chojiro took the lead and set off first. This is how the present scene came about. Vice Captain Sasaki, are the current casualties serious? Katetsu Izan asked urgently. Sparrow Chojiro answered with a heavy sigh. It's clear what he means, the situation is not optimistic. The situation is so serious. Ling Yun also fell silent. You know, together with the captain and a large number of officers, the 10th squad almost went out, but they still suffered heavy losses. It's not hard to imagine. The scale of the Manos Grande invasion this time must be even more terrifying than before. Have all the wounded been settled? Katetsu Azane continued to ask, the fourth team has made sufficient preparations and can provide treatment at any time. This way. Quote. Follow me. Sparrow stepped. Chojiro nodded and walked in the front to lead the way. His pace was hurried, and his expression was a little anxious, obviously looking forward to it all the time. The performance of the silver-haired old man. The atmosphere suddenly dropped to freezing point. Soon after, led by Chojiro, Ling Yun and the members of the fourth squad came to a temporary camp. Looking around, there is a piece of white light. There are white tents next to each other everywhere. Inside each tent, a wounded person was placed. They are numerous and densely packed. It can be seen how serious the casualties are. Vice Captain Sasaki, the casualties are so serious. Looking at the countless tents, Katetsu Azane expressed shame. She had to admit that she seriously underestimated the seriousness of the accident. The casualties of the 10th squad are more exaggerated than expected. When we arrived, Manos Grande had already returned to Hueco Mundo, and the situation became irreversible. Chojiro said with a guilty conscience, bowing his head. Vice Captain Sasaki, I can understand your feelings at that time, and it would be the same for me. Katetsu Azane felt the same way. Vice Captain Yang Yin, 3 seats Ling Yun, how long is it estimated to take to heal all the wounded? Chojiro asked the key point this time. Word will not leave until all wounded are healed. This is also the duty of other Shinigami. Before Katetsu Azane could answer, Ling Yun stood up. Vice Captain Sasaki, don't worry, just leave it to me. Ling Yun said confidently. Ah, did I hear you right? Chojiro was taken aback, expressing strong doubts. 3rd seat Ling Yun, are you going to treat the injury alone? That's right, it's just a trivial matter, I'll treat it now. Ling Yun didn't talk too much nonsense. Wow, accompanied by a burst of noise. A blinding divine radiance emerged from Ling Yun's body. Everything shines like a holy light, exuding a sacred afterglow. Divine healing activated. He restrained his expression, and there was a look of surprise in his old eyes. Sparrow Chojiro saw that in the nearest few tents, the wounded lying on the hospital beds were healed instantly after being illuminated by the holy radiance. The sudden change immediately attracted everyone's attention. Every figure on the scene, no matter the team member or the chief officer, after being illuminated by the sacred brilliance, expressions of fear and anxiety appeared on their faces. As predicted, this magical scene, isn't that too exaggerated? Even Chojiro Sparrow, subconsciously took a step back, trying to get rid of the shroud of the holy light. Everything is as Ling Yun said. Super wide range of overall treatment, jaw-dropping treatment speed. That is because the healing effect of divine therapy is vividly displayed. 4.7 is available after just a few seconds. It made him feel extremely shocked. Katetsu Azane's jaw dropped even though he had seen it once before. Ling Yun has shown super first-class medical skills. It didn't take too much time, and with the continuous radiance of the holy radiance, most of the wounded recovered quickly. What's going on? Chapter 122 Expedition Hueco Mundo's War. This. Sparrow Chojiro stared desperately. When he was excited, not only was he speechless, but even his tongue was almost tied. The shock brought about by divine healing. Words can no longer describe it. Not only the silver-haired old man, including Katetsu Azane, as well as other team kings present. Everyone was stunned, unable to speak a word. The expression of shock and astonishment seemed to have witnessed a miracle. Ling Yun, your Kaido has become stronger again. Even Captain Unohana Retsu can't do this. Katetsu Azane's mood is extremely complicated. She has been with Sister Wa for a certain number of years. As far as Kaido is concerned, in the whole Gote 13, Unohana Retsu takes the second place, absolutely no one dares to take the first place. Ling Yun showed his own experience and subverted this concept. The healing effect of divine healing. Absolutely crush all the Shinigami in the entire Jingling court. Actually, I didn't do anything, so you don't have to be so surprised. For other people's reactions, Ling Yun has long seen 11 as no wonder. However, his own heart is indeed rich and volatile. No matter how good the healing skills are, there is no need for everyone to stand up. After all, for Ling Yun, this is just a routine operation. So it's over now. Chojiro was stunned. He glanced at it out of the corner of his eye, and found many white tents, and people came out one after another. He worried about things all day and night. So easy to solve. Toxic, Katetsu Azane was equally speechless. Before setting off from the Jingling court, she deliberately selected those Grandmaster Kaido's team members. Then a large group of people set off in a mighty way. Unexpectedly, the treatment was over before it even started. It's okay to run for nothing, and what's more important is that the incident happened suddenly. What kind of joke is this? Vice Captain Yang Yin. Should we go back to Jingling court? The 4th Division team members behind them all had stiff expressions. If I had to describe it, it would be like being forcibly fed a mouthful of shit. An uncomfortable match. Ahem. Ling Yun coughed lightly. Just treat it as an outing. Outing. The soldiers instantly exploded. This statement is too perfunctory. Who would deliberately pack up and run to the 76th block, this place where no shit? Looking at the barren mountains and wild mountains, the cold wind blows and eats the soil. Don't you really think of us as human beings? Okay, everyone be quiet, since the treatment mission is over, let's prepare logistics supplies. Katetsu Azane wisely rounded off the situation. Fine. The soldiers reluctantly accepted. After all, in addition to the medical aspect, the 4th Division also undertakes logistical responsibilities. And this camp, because of the large number of wounded, is indeed short of supplies. This emergency rescue mission ended unexpectedly in this way. Ling Yun single-handedly used the heaven-defying divine healing technique to save the entire Juban team. Soon after, inside the main tent of the camp, 3rd seat Ling Yun, thanks to you this time, otherwise the matter would not be resolved smoothly. Sparrow Chojiro couldn't stop being grateful. Although there was a relationship before, but he and Ling Yun had a very shallow relationship. After experiencing this accident, he witnessed the healing technique with his own eyes. Now he is from the bottom of his heart, admiring Ling Yun. Vice Captain Sasaki, I'll spare you the polite words. Ling Yun picked up a cup of hot tea from the table. I'm more curious about what happened to the Manos Grande invasion this time. I was going to talk about it. Chojiro cleared his throat, and then said solemnly, due to the serious injury, Captain Asai of the 10th Division has fallen into a deep coma before. Even with your Kaido treatment, he shouldn't wake up in a short time. However, before he passed out, I had the honor to communicate with him, so I learned the ins and outs of the accident. The silver-haired old man's expression instantly became more serious. According to Captain Asai's recollection, there were at least 2 Ajukas-level Manos Grandes in the Manos Grande group that invaded Rukongai. As soon as Chojiro finished speaking, Ling Yun immediately understood. Even without Arankar, Ajukas-level Manos Grande still has captain-level combat power. In the case of 1 against 2, the defeat of the captain of the 10th Division is also a matter of course. You were lucky to be able to save your life. What happened later? Does Manos Grande still appear? Ling Yun continued to ask. No. When we arrived, the passageway of the Black Cavity was closed, and Manos Grande had already left the Soul Society. Chojiro shook his head. His old face was full of regret. As a veteran Shinigami, he is also a witness to history, so he naturally hates Manos Grande. Over the past 2,000 years, the Soul Society and Hueco Mundo have fought many times. The final result of the war, of course, was that the Soul Society won. But, present world, Hueco Mundo, Soul Society. Under the condition of no external force intervention, the number of souls is always in balance. No matter how strong the Shinigami is, they will never be able to make all the voids disappear. Plus the existence of Manos Grande Forest. Ghosts are born continuously, and their innate instincts will tend to devour their souls. Therefore, the feud between Shinigami and Shu lasted for thousands of years. This is a war that will never end. That's really a pity. If those 2 Ajukas are killed, the entire Hueco Mundo will be severely damaged. Ling Yun tried to comfort the old man. There must be a chance. What's the meaning? Ling Yun could tell that there was something in the old man's words. In the field assessment at the beginning, this time the 10th squad was hit hard, and the successive accidents have angered the captain. Chojiro said in a heavy tone. Based on what I know about him, it shouldn't take long for the horn of counterattack to sound. Sparrow Chojiro revealed, not surprising news. No way. Could it be that the captain is planning an expedition to Hueco Mundo? An exclamation came out. Katetsu Azane was so excited that he almost knocked over his teacup. Shinigami of Gote 13, she was a baby in Baoli during the last expedition to Hueco Mundo. Years passed in a flash. Unexpectedly, the war kicked off again. If there is an expedition to Hueco Mundo, I would like to be able to participate in the battle. Ling Yun didn't even think about it, and said naturally. Although during this time period, the entire Hueco Mundo is extremely desolate, and even the Zai Palace is an open-air fortress. A spot is entrenched in every corner. That's Ling Yun's goal. Since the accidental hollow, Ling Yun desperately hoped to be able to fight the real Manos Grande. Because only in this way can we feel empathy, which is more conducive to hollow in the future. Now that he hears this news, Ling Yun is naturally looking forward to it. Chapter 123 The 55 Opening of the Shinigami World. So what's the exact time? This is not clear at the moment, everything depends on the captain's arrangement. Well, we can only wait. For the rest of the time. On the expedition to Hueco Mundo, Ling Yun and Chojiro had a brief exchange. This topic will be over soon. When will you return to Jingling Court? Ling Yun then changed the subject. About 3 days later, after the investigation and evidence collection is completed, and the wounded have adjusted their condition, everyone will return to Jinglingting. Chojiro rubbed his chin. Is there 3 more days? The corners of Ling Yun's eyes twitched. After most of the wounded recovered, there was nothing for him here. Thinking of facing a bad old man in the next 3 days, Ling Yun felt his scalp go numb. No, gotta have some fun. So, Vice Captain Sasaki, in fact, I've been hearing about your Zanpakutō Yanling Wan for a long time. Ling Yun set his gaze on the opponent's waistband. What? Chojiro froze for a moment. Ling Yun's sudden flattery made him have a bad premonition. How about we come and practice our hands? Ling Yun reached out to touch the girdle, the corners of his mouth curled up expectantly. My Zanpakutō Yanmo is also a Thunder Zanpakutō, why don't you take this opportunity to learn from each other? That's right. Utilize Enma's full attribute abilities to replicate their abilities and moves by fighting the famous Zanpakutō. This is what Ling Yun thought of before, Yanmo's most perfect advanced plan. And now is clearly a good time. Ling Yun, this is not good, is it? Katetsu Azane was the first to object. This turmoil has just subsided, and it is time to have a discussion. Isn't this blocking? She's right, I also find it a bit abrupt. Chojiro smiled awkwardly. Okay then, just pretend I'm right. Ling Yun shrugged helplessly, feeling regretful immediately. In the entire Gotei 13, in the category of Thunder Zanpakutō, there are not many who can name it. Yan Lingwan is the most famous of them. It has followed the silver-haired old man for at least 1,000 years, and its ability must be developed to perfection. More importantly, Yan Lingwan has already awakened Bankai. If you can pass this opportunity, reproduce Yan Lingwan's Shikai and Bankai. Then the power of Yan Mo will be greatly improved. Ling Yun does not want to miss this opportunity. That's right. He's going to do a 50-50 split in the Shinigami world. But, just when Ling Yun was about to give up, the silver-haired old man's voice changed, and he suddenly raised his enthusiasm. Ling Yun is the third seat, and the reputation of the first genius has long been known to me. Just as you suggested, let's have a discussion. Chojiro's words fell behind. Ling Yun and Katetsu Azane have completely different expressions. One was overjoyed, the other was speechless. Vice Captain Sasaki, this is inappropriate. You are all captain-level Shinigami. I'm afraid you're going to make a rash move here, Katetsu Azane said with a firm attitude. One has followed the captain for more than 1,000 years. The other is the strongest genius in Jingalingting. In Katetsu Azane's view, both Ling Yun and Chojiro have captain-level strength. In case it really breaks out, the neighborhood that was originally full of desolation may be completely reduced to ruins. No one can afford it. Vice Captain Yuyan, I know you have concerns, but these are trivial matters. Chojiro waved his hand, but didn't let her finish speaking. As the captain's microphone, the silver-haired old man has always had a good temper. So I readily agreed. Vice Captain Sasaki, go to the ruins outside the camp. It's very suitable for fighting. Ling Wei looked into the distance. No problem, I will be there and set up a boundary barrier, just don't worry. Sparrow Chojiro nodded. He became instantly interested. Soon after, the open space outside the camp is within the 5-fold boundary barrier. Ling Yun, Sparrow Chojiro. Under the crowd of many team members, the two stood on both sides. Ling Yun, I heard it before, you defeated Shiba Kaien very early. Chojiro's eyes were burning. Shiba Kaien, a recognized genius throughout the Gotei 13. The outside world generally recognizes Shiba Kaien's strength and believes that he is qualified to be the captain of Shinigami. And Ling Yun's ability to defeat him is self-evident. This is also the reason why the silver-haired old man, knowing that he was abrupt, agreed, and even showed strong interest. He is also eager to experience Ling Yun's strength. That contest was just a narrow victory, nothing to be proud of. Ling Yun responded lightly. Yes. Chojiro's eyes froze, holding the Zanpakutō Yan Lingwan. Next, I will do my best to let you see the power of Yan Lingwan. Bang! Sparrow stepped Chojiro's body, inadvertently revealed the momentum, like a towering mountain. Putting on the black Shiba outfit, the old white hexagram showed a trace of subtle purple electric shocks. After all, he has lived for more than 2,000 years and has long been the captain's deputy. Even if it is a pig, after living for such a long time, it will definitely become terrible. Not to mention the silver-haired old man. In the original plot, Chojiro Sasaki is a very low-key person. He's also one of the oldest in the Soul Society. In the distant past, the young Sparrow Chojiro, in order to gain the favor of the captain, constantly hone your own strength, and follow the requirements of the other party, and successfully practice Bankai within a month. What happened next was no surprise. Chojiro used Bankai to successfully injure the forehead of the captain during the acceptance of the results. This also made the captain, who had no intention of taking in the attendance, change his mind and recognize the strength of the opponent. Since Chojiro changed the destiny, he has been by the captain's side, and remains absolutely loyal. Objectively speaking, the strength of the silver-haired old man is by no means as weak as described in the original book. It's a pity that in the Millennium Bloody War chapter, when fighting against the Invisible Empire, he was taken away by Bankai by the Quincy, and was finally pierced by the spiritual spear. Before he could tell the opponent's ability information, he died of his injuries due to his severe injuries. Now facing a junior, Sparrow Chojiro burst into fighting spirit, and his blood boiled again. Ling Yun 3 seats. My Zanpakutō Yan Ling Wan. With a low voice, Chojiro Sasaki held Zanpakutō high in front of his body. He is the only Zanpakutō who can control the weather in the entire Gotei 13. Crackling. With these words fell to create. On the surface of Zanpakutō Ling Yun, a large number of lightning arcs danced continuously. The power of the vast thunder is vividly displayed. Chapter 124 I'm really not inflated. Crackling. On the surface of Zanpakutō Ling Yun, a large number of lightning arcs danced continuously. While Chojiro Sasaki was speaking, Reiatsu in the body quickly peaked. Even the surface of the Death Batman's costume was also filled with a large number of electric shocks, and the momentum was extremely huge for a while. Put aside your identity, your qualifications, your status. After all, he has lived for 2,000 years, so he is the oldest Shinigami in the entire Soul Society. What's more, Chojiro Sasaki practiced Bankai in just 1 month as early as that year. It stands to reason that this gifted comprehension is definitely called a genius. In addition, after living for so long, even if it is normal cultivation, its strength is destined to be very strong. So, the original book obviously blackened him. First in the Soul Society, he was easily knocked down by Ichigo, and then in the Millennium Blood War chapter, he achieved the first kill of the Invisible Empire. This is simply outrageous. Zanpakutō who controls the weather. A large number of lightning arcs were reflected in the eyes. Ling Yun suddenly became very excited. More than 100 years ago now, the ice calendar was not born. Therefore, Ling Yun, who can control the weather, is even more unique. It seems that I must go all out. Ling Yun's eyes burst out with scorching fighting intent. From his girdle, he took out the Zanpakutō. The special Reiatsu fused with 7 attributes instantly radiated to the surroundings. This Reiatsu's strong wind hit his face, blowing away his silver hair. Chojiro's eyes twinkled. He clearly sensed that Ling Yun's Reiatsu contained other fluctuations besides the familiar thunder. Such an element of surprise immediately let the bird step Chojiro, and his mood fluctuated violently. Reiatsu in the third seat of Ling Yun is so strong. Outside the boundary barrier, the onlookers all exclaimed. After all, their strength is limited, even if they perceive Reiatsu, they only stay on the surface. To be honest, only the most intuitive feeling, that is, it is a mess of being strong. As for the multi-attribute Reiatsu, ordinary Shinigami soldiers, I really can't feel it. Based on Ling Yun's strength, he is absolutely sure that he has passed the captain's assessment, right? Katetsu Azane, who was standing in the crowd, suddenly showed a melancholy expression. Through this mission, after getting close contact with Ling Yun and understanding his strength, Katetsu Azane's feelings are stronger than ever. She suddenly realized that the so-called 3 seats was actually a constraint for Ling Yun. With Ling Yun's current strength, except for a very few special teams, they are all qualified to be captains. Perhaps leaving the 4th team is only a matter of time. It was precisely because the arrival of that day was foreseeable that she suddenly became sad. Katetsu Azane himself, too, did not realize that as time passed, she has a kind of dependence on Ling Yun. This kind of dependence, to be precise, is more like an emotional outpouring. Of course, this feeling is hazy, and even Katetsu Azane himself is not aware of it. So there will be a touch of sadness. Vice Captain Sasaki. We must do our best later. My Yanmo will not show mercy. Ling Yun holds Zanpakutō, and releases words from his mouth. Used by the evil god, the body of the guard has been exhausted. Yanmo Dark Scythe. Ling Yun's words were resounding. The Zanpakutō in his hand, with the sound, emitted a dark light. Then, under the watchful eyes of everyone, the death scythe took shape. Yanmo. It's just the prelude to liberation, and it's amazing to have such an aura. Although he was shocked by Yanmo's appearance, Chojiro quickly adjusted his mentality. His Ling Yun is also powerful. Pierce through him, Ling Yun. Without any hesitation, Chojiro released the power of Ling Yun instantly with a thought. The Zanpakutō in his hand shone with purple light. BBCD, the power of thunder is violent and frightening. Sting, sting. The silver-haired old man held Ling Yun in his hand, as if he had transformed into Zeus, the god of thunder. The surroundings of his old body were covered with purple thunder. The purple light flickered, and the lightning arc jumped. Ling Yun stood upside down in midair, continuously exuding the power of thunder. Created an amazing scene. Sure enough, it can control the climate. It is truly a famous weapon. Ling Yun was overjoyed. The power of Ling Yun is much stronger than he originally expected. Through the diffusion of Reiatsu, the spirit particles in midair are affected, thus condensing a large-scale thunderstorm. This is the power of Ling Yun. And this thunderous power was exactly what he needed. Ling Yun is in high spirits and can't wait to make a remake. Life extinction. Sparrow Chojiro waved Zanpakutō without saying a word. A slash formed by the condensed purple thunder, carrying a large number of lightning arcs, galloped towards Ling Yun. Ling Yun, is he crazy? Katetsu Azane, who was watching from the sidelines, saw Ling Yun's actions, his eyeballs almost flew out. Within her line of sight, Ling Yun, holding Yanmo in his hand, stood motionless in place. Neither intends to fight back, nor intends to evade. This posture of death is very similar to giving up struggling. Third seat Ling Yun, are you too arrogant? Chojiro frowned suddenly. He mistakenly thought that Ling Yun was overly inflated and didn't take Yan Lingwan seriously. And actually, Ling Yun really thinks so. Although Yan Lingwan is strong, Shikai is far from enough. Ling Yun stood where he was, with a relaxed expression on his face. Yanmo with all attributes has the ability to reproduce perfectly. In addition, Ling Yun's Reiatsu strength is not inferior to the opponent. Under such a premise, he has no reason to be afraid of Yan Lingwan's offensive. It's not blind expansion, but absolute self-confidence. Chojiro swears that he has lived for more than 2,000 years, and has never met anyone who was as arrogant as Ling Yun. There was a permanent scar on the forehead. But the expected scene did not happen. This horrifying scene. So real. A scene that shocked everyone happened. How is it possible? He obviously didn't do anything. This made Chojiro unacceptable. After a while of silence, he took a deep breath. All the purple and thunder disappeared strangely the moment they came into contact with Yanmo. It turned out that Ling Yun stood still. Was he really not paying attention? It directly made the silver-haired old man break out in a cold sweat. The seemingly mighty slash, carrying purple thunder, bombarded heavily on the death scythe. Sparrow stepped Chojiro eyes trance. Even the captain, although equally arrogant back then, paid the price. Ling Yun was unscathed. After a few seconds. Chapter 125 The first Bankai to steal back. Vice Captain Sasaki, if you rely on Shikai alone, you have no chance of winning at all. How about using Bankai's power directly? Although Ling Yun's words sounded a bit arrogant. But on the opposite side, Chojiro couldn't find any reason to refute. Without any choice, no matter how reluctant he is, he can only be forced out of Bankai. Bang! The purple light became brighter. Thunder became more violent. Every second that passed, Chojiro's breath had a clear climb. Looking good. This is the true power of Yan Lingwan. It won't be long. His Reiatsu finally peaked, and the silver-haired old man closed his eyes. Although he has been serving the captain for 2,000 years. It can be felt that after the specialness of Yanmo, Chojiro Sasaki knew very well that he could not relax in any way. Without hesitation, he poured all the Reiatsu into the Zanpakutō Yan Lingwan. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening bang, the power of thunder erupted instantly. The bright and shining thunder, together with the purple light, rushed into the midair together. It looks like a purple canopy, spreading out rapidly on the edge of the sky. Huge momentum. Gulu. The climate has been affected. Katetsu Azane swallowed. Affected by this majestic Reiatsu, the vast sky became dark and gloomy. Thick dark clouds gather regularly, accompanied by oval lightning. Bang! The sound of thunder and roar was deafening. This barren land, shrouded in the shadow of dark clouds, reveals Shaosei and desolation, as if a doomsday catastrophe is about to usher in. As the current Gotei 13, the only Zanpakutō capable of affecting the climate. Yan Lingwan, just the prelude to Bankai's release, affects the weather in a radius of hundreds of miles. It is truly worthy of being one of the best weapons in Zanpakutō of the lightning system. Such power, as expected of Zanpakutō who can control the weather. No wonder he was able to leave a scar on the old man's forehead more than 2,000 years ago. Ling Yun looked up at the sky and was also shocked. Ling Yun could still clearly sense the thunderclouds in the sky at a relatively long distance. In the surrounding air, there is a scorching smell, as if the entire space has been detonated. Crackling. The sound enough to pierce the eardrum sounded continuously like musical notes. The water molecules in the air are ionized by the purple lightning arc and quickly evaporate in the air. Even Shiba Kaien can't compare with you, the captain's adjutant is really different. Feeling the power of Yan Lingwan's Bankai and Huang's Yan Lingli Palace, Ling Yun became excited. Teammate-level majestic Reiatsu, like a far-reaching tsunami, emanates without reservation. Boom. This Reiatsu is not inferior at all, even surpassing Yan Lingmaru's Bankai. With Ling Yun as the center point, the black Reiatsu is like a wave of air, spreading layer by layer. Wherever Reiatsu went, the ground shattered in vain, and cracks visible to the naked eye appeared. The tents in the camp were shaking even more. The Shinigami soldiers who stayed inside suddenly became difficult to breathe, as if they would suffocate at any time. Gulu. The sound of swallowing saliva came and went. All the soldiers were pale, with terrified eyes, as if they were in a 10,000 years ice cellar. The body curled up and trembled uncontrollably, and the heart was completely occupied by fear. There is dead silence. Is this the Reiatsu of Ling Yun's third seat? It's an exaggeration, it's even stronger than Bankai. What are you still doing in a daze? Why don't you hide quickly, so as not to be affected later? A duel of this level is really too dangerous for us. The contest at the captain level is really exciting. The onlookers were all terrified, subconsciously shrinking their bodies. Even if they intended to find a place to hide, the Reiatsu emitted by Yanmo and the Bankai emitted by Yan Lingwan made everyone have nowhere to escape. Not just ordinary team members, even a slightly stronger officer, even Katetsu Azane. Facing Yan Lingwan's Bankai, he could only tremble. The screen changes. Within the five-fold boundary barrier. After each released their strongest strength, Ling Yun and the silver-haired old man confronted each other. Black light and purple light are constantly interlacing. Hundreds of miles around, it became a mess. The sky was filled with dark clouds, looking gloomy and dull, shrouded in a depressing atmosphere. Ask for flowers. Ling Yun 3 seats. It turns out that this is your true strength. The silver hair was blown messy. Sparrow Step Chojiro's face was full of horrified expressions. Now it was his turn to be shocked. The strong wind of Reiatsu that hit his face kept blasting into the bottom of his heart. The silver-haired old man couldn't even bear it. Vice Captain Sasaki, I didn't deliberately hide it. Ling Yun responded with a smile. When the opponent insisted on using Bankai, he didn't intend to hide Shiwu. What Ling Yun desires the most right now is Bankai who stole Yan Lingwan. That's right. Being a 50-50 of the Shinigami world. Relying on Yan Mo's full attributes, Ling Yun has the ability to copy all moves. Wind, fire, earth, thunder, water, time and space, ice. As long as you fight against these 7 types of Zanpakutō, you can continuously reproduce the opponent's moves in the process of actual combat. This time Ling Yun is going to be a little crazy and just steal the first Bankai. Let's make a break this time. Ha 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 ha. Thinking of the fate of the silver-haired old man, Ling Yun can only mourn for him. Once struck by falling lightning, one can imagine what will happen to Ling Yun. They locked onto Ling Yun's figure with incomparable precision. Vice Captain Sasaki, thank you for your exaggeration, but the most urgent thing is to concentrate. With these words fell. Speaking of it, I'm really a little embarrassed. I actually let a junior teach me a lesson face to face. Ling Yun suddenly felt a little sad. Chojiro Sasaki laughed, and then he clenched the handle of the knife tightly, his eyes bursting with scorching fighting intent. Even ended up dying on his own Bankai. In the original plot, the silver-haired old man in front of him, until the moment of his death, remained loyal and devoted his whole life to Gote 13. 11 bright purple thunder lights descended from the center of the sky at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. The eyes reflect the other party's smile. 3 seats of Ling Yun. However, before he died, he witnessed with his own eyes the scene where Jingling Court was invaded. For an outstanding talent like you, no matter which team you go to, you are destined to be the most shining person. Chojiro Sasaki nodded, showing a relieved smile. Thick thunderclouds in the sky are irregularly deformed.